Okay, it says that we are live for the Westlake Charter School November 13th, 2025 board meeting. Board President Golick, you have the YouTubes.
Thank you. If you're at home watching on YouTube, which you are if you're hearing this, please know that you can still make a public comment by emailing admin@westlakecharter.com. Just put the item you're commenting on in the subject line and then limit the body of your comment to 250 words or less. Every effort will be made to read your comment into the record, but if that doesn't happen, it will be shared with the board. With that, Amy, will you please take the roll?
Yes. Hope.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Josh. Sackbeer.
Here.
Sally.
Here.
Amber.
Here.
Suzanne. Nerali.
Here.
Katie.
Here.
We are loud and clear, Katie's floor.
Thank you. Celebrations.
Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
All right.
Assuming that flights fly, I should get to see my college freshman for the first time in 3 months next week. So that will be nice.
Yeah,
And
super
I think even more excited is my youngest to see his older brother.
Yeah, that's great. Which direction are we going, Hubba or Steve?
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, well done. Mr. Corbink. Mr. Corbink, you're up.
I'm excited to hear our guest presenters tonight. So
Yeah.
celebrating the team that's here.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Sapphire?
I'll miss the last board meeting, but I did go back and watch the YouTube video, one of the 53 views.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I gotta say the survey results were very impressive. We got 33% of return. That
Yeah.
was higher than expected.
Yeah.
So that was really great to see. And everyone wants a high school, so
Right. I only had $100 million. I'm going to put that there somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Personal celebration. My daughter is 3 today.
Oh, on a birthday. Oh, sorry, Mrs. Sanchez.
Similar to Sean, I get to see my college student next week, and I'm really looking forward to it. So.
I love it. I love it. I will awkwardly celebrate Mr. Steve Corbink as I drove into the parking lot this morning in the pouring rain, and I was dry in my car, listening to music. I looked over there at Mr. Corbink with the stop sign and the umbrella and the car zigging and zagging. I thought, what other CBO do you know anywhere at any school who is like balancing the budget, doing a great job on the financial presentations, just rocking the work that he does. He's out there in the rain, directing traffic. Thank you for that, man. Good job today. That was great. Ms. Keegan, do you want to play?
I do. 2 nights in a row, I got to hang out with my 17-year-old son, which is pretty rare. One night he did an oil change on his car, and I was the make sure the car doesn't follow you person. And it was fine, everything was safe. And then the next night we worked out together, and I'm like, this is so fun, and I'm so glad we're bonding. I hope he doesn't watch this, because then I know it'll end.
He is such a cool kid. AW, you want to play?
Yeah. Oh my God. I had it right there.
It was right there.
Yeah, it was right there. It's gone now.
Come back to you?
Sure.
Yeah, well,
I really had
what
it
could
and
go
it's
wrong?
gone now.
It'll come back. You want to play Houston?
Sure. I went to focus groups last week. I thought it was fantastic. She remembered. See, she remembered. And it was just great to hear from so many engaged parents.
Yeah, those are great. I'm going to come back to you before AW forgets.
Glee Club.
Glee Club.
I went to Glee Club
Yeah.
last night, and they were singing Disney songs, and it was so cute. And our kids are so brave. There were so many solos.
So great.
You could not pay me to do so. There were so many solos. Glee Club.
Ms. Patel.
Oh man, I was going to celebrate the rain today and
Oh.
staff members that stay there, but I'm not. So now I'm going to go to my other one, which is I got a chance to go on a field lesson this year with my second grader, and I, obviously it was a pumpkin patch and it was great because kids were very excited, but I really loved connecting. My group of 4 were very adventurous and wanted to go on the really difficult corn maze, and
yeah.
pretty much half of our
Yeah.
field trip time, and it was so great connecting with these kids and all 4 of them working together on this corn maze. And I'm telling you, they got to a point where they were like, okay, are we ever going to get out and get to go do the other stuff? We thought we were going to rush through this, but it was so great to be see them kind of work through it, share snacks because they decided to leave the other half not with us in the corn maze. And so it just overall felt very, it was a great experience seeing them bond, seeing them go through challenges, seeing them help each other out. Loved it.
Perseverance, stewardship. I mean, this is fantastic. Core values. I love it.
Yeah.
Sally Hubbard.
I went to family night as well, and I took so many notes. It was so interesting to hear from a parent's perspective, and we had multiple grade levels parents in the room, high school, middle school, kindergarten, and they each, you were there in my room with me, and just for a teacher to hear what kids go home and say and what parents reflect back was really, really cool.
Love it. Love it.
With that, are there any board comments for items not on the agenda? Seeing none, public comments. Do we have any emails? And while you check, Miss Mendez, is anyone at the high school to comment?
There's no one here wanting to make a comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mendez.
Welcome.
And no comments via email.
Perfect. That will take us to reports. Do we have a report from Wave?
We certainly do. It is right here on this slide. Let's see how this goes. What could go wrong? Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Felix Flores, your WAVE president, here to share a quick update on our recent events and what's ahead for the WAVE leadership team. First, I want to highlight our Fall Festival, which was another fantastic success this year, thanks in large part to the incredible leadership of Whitney Browning and Sandra Crowell. Despite a bit of weather scare with possible rain that day, we had similar attendance to last year, and energy just was amazing. So I was really proud of what we did. Family showed up, kids had a blast, and the sense of community I felt was just really, really strong as ever on that day. Financially, we brought in about $11,000 after distributing some teacher support funds from the baskets and calculating our expenses. We expect that we're in net around $1,000 from the event. It's a little lower than the $3,000 projection that we had, but not significantly off. We'll know more once all reimbursements are finalized. But overall, I thought it was a great event and a strong reminder of how meaningful these community home moments are to our Westlake families. And as always, we're learning to improve, especially around things like the raffle baskets, just to make sure next year's festival is even better. What we're focusing on for the next few months, now that the Olympic Triathlon and Fall Festival are behind us, our WAVE leadership team is using November, December, and January to focus on 4 key areas of planning. First is sponsorships. We see this as an area with great potential for building stronger business and community partnerships while increasing revenue for WAVE. Secondly, we're looking at parent communication. We're reflecting on what's working and where we can improve across our Instagram, Facebook group, and email outreach. Thirdly, we're working on budget planning for 26-27. We're starting early this year just so we have a clear and ready to review budget by election season in April. And then last but not least, we're focused on international festival planning. So after a successful event last year, we're giving ourselves plenty of runway to make sure that this year's event will be just as special. So one more important area just to put out there, I'm currently discussing with Dr. Ike how WAVE can best align with the larger fundraising strategy for the school. I understand this might be connected closely with the broader strategic plan that's happening. So we'll be patient as well as intentional to see how that work develops over the next few months. Our motivation behind the fundraising strategy is really simple. We just want to be positioning WAVE to best support Westlake, whether that's through fundraising, classroom engagement, community building, or some combination of that all. We'll continue to refine how that'll do in the months ahead through conversations with Dr. Ike. In the meantime, we're just looking forward to movie night and our volunteer appreciation events coming up in December. Just want to thank you all for your continued support of WAVE and of the school. I'm grateful for your partnership and proud of the momentum we've been building over the last couple months, over the last year as well. If you have any ideas or feedback for me, feel free to always reach me at wavewcs@gmail.com. Thank you and have a great night.
All right. Thank you to Mr. Flores, our WAVE president.
That brings us to our Charter Impact Report, and I'm excited to announce Anna Thomas from our committee is here to present to you with what we've been working on.
And we'll make sure you get your microphone turned on, and I'll get your slides going here, and we will talk some Charter Impact. Let's go. Okay, I am hopeful.
Just to the right?
I really hope so. I think so. I'm hoping it's going to work.
All right, so we're here to provide some update of what Charter Impact Committee was up to in the last year and a half. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, it works. All right, we've worked hard to prepare a charter renewal monitoring guide for the board. I hope you had a chance to review it. So we're not going to go in too much detail. I'm just going to provide an update where we've been. what we aspire to do, and what the plan is. So the Charter Impact Committee studied the charter renewal framework internally, and we also I did personally read some legislative updates just because of the nature of my job. So then we also researched and presented internally in the committee meetings on the charter renewal process and timelines. We reviewed, studied, and analyzed the California dashboard, California Department of Education dashboard, what the indicators, academic indicators, and what other data is required for it, what goes into it, and also looked at Dr. Ike, of course, as always, with his data and statistics, presented a lot of Westlake's historical data. We also invited Jim Scheibel,
Yep.
okay, a consultant, education consultant, who also presented us kind of the framework and also the charter renewal process and procedures and timelines and his recommendations. So with all of that, we have created or came up with the Charter Renewal Progress Monitoring Guide to show that we strive for high track status. This is our goal. We may not be able to achieve it by meeting the criteria 1 for high track, but we believe that this is possible for us to meet the criteria 2 for high track status. And as you already know, that high track, why the importance of it is not just how academically well we're doing, but also the period for which we receive the charter is longer. It's 5 to 7 years. So yeah, let's see now. So we're focusing on closing the achievement gaps. So based on the current data, Westlake Charter School is on track to meet high track with the data criterion 2, which is closing the achievement gaps for 2025. If we continue to stay on trend for 2026, then we can project that we can meet that criteria and start preparing the early submission. And the early submission timeline would be using the data from dashboard for 2025 and 2026, and that would be from July to October 2027 is when we would start working on that and submit it. The data for the school for 2026 will be available about approximately June, July. We will conduct, well, not me, but the school will conduct the preliminary analysis to determine whether or not we're on track to meet the high track criteria 2, and whether or not we should do an early submission for the charter renewal. Now, that would be the preliminary analysis. We do have to wait for the California Department of Education dashboard. Data will be released about in November, and then that will serve as our confirmation data against which we will then compare our data to determine whether or not we should submit 2025 and 2026 data, or if we have to wait another year and then do the on-time submission. I don't like the term late submission. We do everything on time. So, okay. So the goal, we believe this aligns with our strategic goals, that we demonstrate what is possible. We aspire to meet high track criteria to make sure that we receive the longest possible period. I'm sure the school has a lot to do with the high school and take care of that, so that would be nice to have that charter secured. So, any questions? I know there's a lot here. If you have any questions, I'm ready to prepare. I brought my own presentation over there and slides that I did
And that is on for consent tonight, the Charter Progress Monitoring Guidelines. So are there any questions about the guideline or about the process? We are so grateful you came out to present tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
With that, development doesn't meet until next Monday. Are there any other updates you want the board to have? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's fine. I'm trying to think. We are working through trying to
Oh, microphone, yep. Good catch, good catch. You're good, you're good.
Development committee is working through kind of our process for fundraising and looking at our two big fundraising that we have that's in November and May of next year, kind of really taking a step up right now this year and trying to really look at our goals and figure out how best we can kind of, the committee can serve the rest of the board and the school on those two fundraisings that we've always kind of had the last 2 years and how we can better improve. So kind of in that process for this year.
Perfect. Finance.
So finance met, we got our monthly update from Steve on all things CBO related and continued on our yearly review of certificated compensation, some of which kind of a nexus of that is on the agenda tonight.
And then governance did meet before the meeting tonight. We reviewed 4 different policies. One of them will be before the board next month. The 3 others will probably follow shortly thereafter. But that policy review is continuing to happen. I'm really daunted handing it over to you tonight.
I have a lot of slides. But some of them have pictures of outer space. And we do have a very special guest. I'll have you up on stage in just a second. Let's get my slides out of the way. Although I do have some wonderful celebrations, but then we'll have a guest speaker within my presentation in the first part of the presentation. So, welcome everybody. It's good to see you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for braving the rain. I do have 152 slides. 6 of those though belong to Stamus, so I feel like I only have 140 something. So I feel okay about that. Thomas, run! Let's do what we do. Let's dive in and start with some celebrations. If you want to celebrate anything that you see on the slide deck, please just jump in, because I will be talking for the next long time anyway. I always love Red Ribbon Week because I think it's very important. I think that, talking about healthy bodies and healthy minds, healthy habits is critical. But I also just love the door decoration. And I know it's a ton of work, but man, I just dig walking around campus and seeing it. I might have slipped in a don't do drugs, eat chicken nugs on a really important dashboard slide. We'll be looking at dashboard data and talking chicken nugs later on.
You know how important they are.
Totally, they are all over the student data. Fall Festival was awesome. I don't know if everybody made it or not. I was on my little crutches. I made a lap and just had a ton of fun. And I loved all of the high school kids. For me, I've been doing Fall Festival a bunch of years, but to see our high school kids doing the haunted house, and one of my favorite kids, Sean Gonzalez, has got this, what do you call that? A Britney Spears microphone? And he's like a carny. Hey, step right up and win a prize. And he was just I just stood there and watched him. I mean, he was such a shy young child. Now he's in high school and just owning the show. It was great. Yeah, Fall Festival was fantastic. Really enjoyed that day. Secondary showcase. We were out at Natomas High School last night, home of the Nighthawks. Celebrating who we are as a school. We are now a K-12 organization. If anybody out there in the community is looking for a fantastic high school or middle school, we are certainly a great place to choose. And it was great to have our team out there, man in the booth. I can't believe this didn't come up in celebrations. Our postseason right now in sports is just phenomenal. Does anybody want to speak to this? Yeah, hit it, Houston.
So, you can see all 3 of the fall sports teams made it to playoffs. I think they all had really great runs.
Yeah.
Sections comes this Saturday
Still
for
running,
cross
yeah.
country, and they're still going. And we expect probably at least one team and some athletes to make it to state. Which is incredible because we had a couple runners come in top 10 at subsections last weekend. Yes.
2 years ago, I think there was 23 runners on the team.
Yeah.
This year, 23 runners made subsections. 23 of our students ran in subsections.
And both varsity girls and boys made it to sections as a team.
As teams. Oh.
Which is fantastic.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Well, yeah, it's such a great celebration. Sometimes we will ask ourselves, you as a board invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in this. And you meet these kids and you go, oh, that's money well spent. That connects these kids to our community. A really cool celebration. I don't know if we did this last month or not, but over here, this 100 core value chart over here. We will pull 50 or 60 core values all on a single day. They'll bring the kids in here. A-Dub will scare their parents and say, okay, you ready to call your mom? This is Amy Wells from Westlake Charter School. I have your child here with me. And they got a core value award. Yeah, that's great. And the kids are like, she pranked my mom. Then they take a picture of the student. The student then places their picture in one of those kind of like bingo things. And once the pictures complete a line, whoever the kids are in that bingo line win a prize, and the teachers who are part of it also win a prize. And so super cool stuff going on there. It's a great way to remind ourselves how important those core values are. Oh, yeah, Ms. Patel, yeah.
I'm going to celebrate that the freak out. So my daughter was out of school for 4 days because of a double ear infection.
Oh.
So finally sent her to school, and then I get a call at 9:20, and I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, boy.
Seriously?
Yeah, what's happening?
This is the worst time, and it was not expected. And I think the idea of when I came to pick her up at the end of the school, just the excitement of, we got you, dude, that was so cool.
I love it.
It was something that stuck, and like even the other friends in her class were really excited.
We got you. Ms. Hubbard?
I walked in when the whole thing was going on, and I walk in, and there's a line of kids out of the door to the office, and I come in, and Amy's over here, and the whole admin team's over here with phones and kids, and they've got
It's a
Tony
machine.
and Stacy are in there, and it was so fun. Like, I just hung out in here and just had all the celebrations with little kids and big kids.
We need a high school version because it's such
fun.
a cool. It's a moment where you're like, oh, this is kind of cool.
68 the first week and 77 the second.
77 kids all at one time. That's great. I love it. Yeah, strategic plan family focus groups were fantastic. We started in this room and we rolled to 3 rooms after that. Great, very diverse crowd, ethnically, racially, linguistically, socioeconomically, but also by grade band. High school families, families with kids on both campuses, kindergarten families. It was really cool, and we'll talk about it later on today. But it was great to host that. And we'll be talking about this here in just a moment, but what a celebration. We had one of our amazing, I spelled her name wrong, it's Starmus. Because she's, you see, Miss Starmus. Well, she'll talk all about it, but just what a buzz. If you haven't heard about this, well, you did hear about it at the last board meeting, that's why she's here, but just a buzz everywhere. I think it buzzed in your classroom. It buzzed on this campus, the high school campus. So I can't wait to hear all about this from our guest speaker. Mix It Up Day was awesome on both campuses. You know, when you go to family focus groups and you ask families why they came to Westlake Charter School, they say things that you think they're going to say about most schools. You know, I hear it's a safe school. I hear it's a good school. I hear about the academics. Then you ask families why they would never want to leave. And it's things like this. Well, and things like this. I mean, nobody knows about these high-touch opportunities to be part of an amazing community until they're here. So no one knows that this is what they want for their kid, but when they get it, they're like, oh, this is great. These Mix It Up Days are brilliantly led by our counselors. Lots of organization going into it, and it's well received. All right. I'm going to dive into strategic actions. I think I have 3: assembling the comprehensive school safety plan, prepping for the lottery season, and sending teachers to space. And then we'll get right to you. Here we go. The comprehensive school safety plan safety team met tonight. As we know, per Ed Code, the team has to include a certificated staff member, a classified staff member, a parent, an administrator, and so we met tonight in between governance and the board. We are, following the same regiment that we do each year. There's 10 mandated sections. It requires the committee to assemble. By March of this year, we will move to adopt said comprehensive school safety plan. It is now assembled and on file. So if you would like to come visit it in the front office, and I'll buy you a cup of coffee, and you can sit and read it. It's almost as long as my slides tonight. So it's lots of pages, but come by and take it for a visit. Of course, we do not send it out digitally because we don't want it out in the ether, but the work is being put together. And big shout out to Mrs. Cahigas, who brilliantly orchestrated this. So if there aren't any questions about that topic, it is on file. You can come visit. I suspect that I'll meet with the safety team next month, and I suspect we'll move for action on this thing maybe January, unless there's any big updates. Okay? My second topic is that we are prepping for application outreach season, right? Every year we go on social media, we go to Natoma's, but oh man, I love me some Brandy Boyd and the Natomas Buzz, but they're closed. The Natomas Buzz is closed, so we wanted to make sure we highlighted that we won't be advertising in the Buzz this year, but we will still continue to do our direct postcards to the 95833, 34, and 35. Remember that we send postcards, especially we blanket the 95833 because we're trying to pull students out of South Natomas because we have a lot of walking families, but we're really trying to recruit families, from every part of Natomas. We have really strong brand visibility and word of mouth. In the family survey, word of mouth is it. Word of mouth is how people hear about Westlake. But we continue to push hard on the social media, the branding, and the postcards. Applications open up on December 1st, and they close on January 31st. So for all of you, all 53 of you listening to YouTube, tell your friends from December 1st to January 31st, big deal. Do not be that person who comes in on February 1st and goes, oh, I forgot. So please get your applications in. It's super easy. You go to joinwestlake.com and you end up going through our little lotteries, paperless application process, and then we will run the public random lottery on March 3rd, 2025, which is Monday. Is that Monday? Isn't it always
It's usually
Monday?
the first Monday in March.
It's always on a Monday, but it doesn't say Monday, so I'm worried that I got it wrong, but I think it's Monday. Okay.
And we still put it in in magazine, right? Or the Natomas Park newsletter. We're not using any of those other things.
It's wrong. Yeah, there you go.
That's last year's date.
It wasn't the Monday that I got wrong. It's the entire year. That's last year's date. My fault, everybody. That's 100% me. It's good. Sorry about that. We'll get that updated and we'll be back. Definitely, though, January 1st is the opening day, and we'll update the actual lottery day. If you have any suggestions on places to advertise, please send them our way. Should we get in magazine? Should we get in? There was a little magazine going around that people were advertising in. But if you got anything that you think's hot, let us know because we are ramping up right now. Okay? Any questions on that? Well, let's get to the real show here, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our analog astronaut of the year. You all know that she's coming because you asked for her to be here. Mrs. Stamos, we're so glad you're here.
Thanks.
I think your clicker's up there.
Yep. I'm gonna
And
just
you
click
have the
and just
floor
see.
and the
Okay.
YouTubes.
I'm really excited that you guys invited me to talk about this because the amount of work that I put into this, it was a lot. And I feel like I'm in a room full of people who would appreciate the work that I put into this. I do want to preface that when I did start the process, before I was even selected and when I was in my training, this was not the intent to bring it into an educational setting. I was going to do this because this was something I've always wanted to do. And it wasn't until talking to some peers of mine, Fatima, our aide at the school, I wanted to include my students in this because I was going to be gone for 2 weeks. And so she said, what if you did an experiment? And it set it off to a literal global event. And so I want to share the work that I did. Real quick, an analog astronaut basically is an astronaut that goes in and does things that an astronaut would do in space. They learn from that. They take that information, they take that research, and they apply that to the astronauts in their training, and then they just learn about human factors. They learn about technology. They do all kinds of cool things along with psychological factors. And so I, as a science teacher, wanted to have my students do science while I was gone, and I wanted to engage with them, and I wanted them to feel included. And then I thought, you know what, if I'm going to do this with my students while I'm gone, why don't I see if any Westlake teachers want to do this? And then I was thinking, well, wait a minute, I'm telling our crew, and at this point, I hadn't even been chosen yet to be selected. So I wasn't even sure if I was even going to be on the mission. I knew that I was going through the training. Just like any other astronaut. There's astronauts that go through training, but then there's some that actually never make it to space. So I went through that same process. And I'm talking to my crewmates, and they're like, wait a minute, I want to engage with some teachers. And so I got about 12 crew members who eventually ended up getting selected for the mission. And they got to engage with the teachers that I ended up finding all around the world. And I wanted to just point out here, there were a few things that I did. Over here to the right, you see, do I have a pointer?
I think so.
Oh.
I think you're one of the buttons.
There we go. This
there we
right here. So this is my behind the scenes. I put out to social media, hey teachers, I'm part of a space educator network. So we go to NASA every year and we network and we do fun things. And I put a little thing out and I said, hey, do you want to join me on this? And I was so excited to see Sally Hubbard had signed up because she and I are on social media. I was like, yes, a Westlake teacher wants to participate. And so they got, when they signed up, I did an information session. This was all over the summer. A lot of work just to get teachers involved. And then, and this was the final countdown, basically. There was about 30-something educators from 11 different countries, about 3,000 students amongst them. And they got to pick what simulation that they wanted. So the world's biggest analog is the first and only time that these habitats from around the world did a simulated mission together. Usually these habitats work individually and independently. So this is the first time ever that these global habitats worked during one mission at a time. So this was the only opportunity to really engage with students around the world. And so I was like, I'm going to do this. Yeah, and so they got to pick. So we had Martian habitats, we had lunar habitats, and we had International Space Station habitats. And I was actually excited because Ms. Hubbard here, she actually picked the Martian, and I was selected for lunar. So I really didn't engage with her directly, which to me was cool because we got to have a little bit of everything in the experience. And so I paired these teachers up with crew. There were 4 habitats out of the 16 that participated, and I created a 2-week lesson. That was the length of the mission. I created this graphic here where they exercised like how we exercise, so students got to do those exercises. I took my culinary hunch challenge information, and I didn't put it up here, but students got to create a nutrition plan based off of the nutritional facts or requirements that astronauts need. So I pulled that information from there to create this. And then on top of that, there were experiments. There were 3 experiments. 2 I created, and 1 another teacher had created. And you can't really tell, but you can see which countries that were involved, and a majority of them are from the U.S. just because of my Space Explorer Educating Network, and they were on. I mean, this really would not be what it is without those educators just killing it, and I want to show you what they did. So Mrs. Hubbard's class, I loved it. She actually created a pen pal. So this is some pictures that she shared with me. Her students are doing the exercises out on the lawn. This was some of her plants that because we did a plant experiment. They got to grow plants, and then I still need to share that data. I'm still working through it. But they'll compare the data because I brought space exposed seeds to the analog, and so we got to see how they grow in the actual analog. This is a school from Mississippi, so they used VR, so she got some stuff from her students, dressed them up, and then put the green screen to make it look like that they are on Mars doing things. Then we had 2 teachers that did an overnight analog. So here, this was her airlock right here. This is from a middle school in Serrano. She bought her students these little flight suits. They stayed overnight, and here was her plan. So she created stations, and she was like, "We're not sleeping." And so she had them up all night long doing puzzles, doing really cool things that came from that. And that was not me. Again, so my 2-week plan, right? This was just all of these were optional. The experiments were optional. It was just like, hey, you could do one, you could do all. And this is what came from it. Mrs. Hubbard did a pen pal thing. That was not part of my idea. The VR thing, that was not part of my idea. Having, students doing their own analog, that was not my idea. And it was the most beautiful thing to see teachers doing cool things
just by giving them the opportunity to do that. And it was really, really inspiring. And here's more pictures that teachers shared, just doing activities, building things, and it was just all over. And I really wanted to, this one is a video, so I took that video that you made. So Ms. Hubbard, she made a video, and she shared that with the Brazil school, correct? Yeah, so she actually engaged with the school in Brazil, which was where one of the habitats that she was working with. So she made this video. And then this one right here, this one is a really cool video that I really wanted to share with you guys, but I think, but before we do this, I want to share what Westlake Charter High School did. The cool part about this, so this picture right here, one of my students, I was telling her, hey, you know, I heard from another analog astronaut that because I was in isolation for 14 days, I did not see the sun. I did not see outside. I did not see anything for 14 days. And so I was explaining to my students, my astronomy students, you know, I heard that when they stepped out into the great wild wonder, they noticed everything was different. Their color was brighter. Everything looked different. And so one of my students said, hey, when you step out of the hab, can you take a picture of it and then can you filter it to show us what you saw? And so you can see, so what I did was, we did not know this, that as soon as we were stepping out of the habitat in Poland, they said, oh, by the way, the media's here. So this right here is the Polish media. So we're like, wait, what? And then we're like getting, you know. So we step out of the hab, and I did it. I said, okay. So I immediately took this picture. This is what I saw, and then I filtered it, and I asked the crewmates, my crewmates. I said, hey, would you say that this represented what you saw? When they said yes, most definitely. So you can see in this picture that that the colors are brighter. This again was not my idea. This was something that I inspired somebody else to do and to look at, and so I shared this with her. And then another student came up with a whole other experiment. So she had me doing a game before I went in, the same game when I went in, and then doing the game after. Oh, really? She laid it all out. I mean, you should see this experiment. She did all of it, and this was an art student. This is not a student that was into science. And so just seeing what people were coming up with just by me putting it out there that I'm doing this one thing, what do you want to do? It was really, really inspiring to see. And so I'm thankful that, and then this is the best part. So you all know about my NASA Hunch stuff, right? So one of the projects for NASA this year is to have a chessboard, to design a chessboard for the Artemis mission, and this was the first time that I got to be able to test this in an analog. So the student created a 3D design of a chessboard, sent it to me, we printed it in the analog, and then I went and I said, these are the things that I have, this is what we have in the analog. I made the squares, we didn't have the chess pieces, so we took the water bottle caps, and I made stars on 16 of them, and planets on the other 16 or whatever, and we ended up playing chess, so we ended up with a chessboard. And so what my student who designed this, what he can do when he goes to present next week, so he'll be presenting this to NASA next week, he will be able to say, hey, my design was tested in an analog, and this was what the analog astronauts' feedback was, and this is the changes that I made. So I am hoping that this year, this opportunity will be able to give him that leg up to make it to finals. If he makes it to finals, we would go to Houston in April, and he would present his chessboard design, and then they would select that and give that to the real astronauts, the Artemis astronauts on the moon. So. Again, this offered so many really cool opportunities, and I'm really, really thankful that this turned into what it ended up turning into. So, and there's so much more I can share, but you said 5 to 7 minutes, and I try to keep it to 10. So
You're great. We love it. Any questions for our astronaut? Any thoughts? Yeah, Nirali.
I love how you've taken your passion and really allowed other students to find their passion. I mean, showing us the different ways. It's phenomenal. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for that. Yes.
Anybody else? Yeah, Hubba?
I thought one of the coolest parts was when you had the sign on from all the habitats around the world, and we watched that. It wasn't live because it was 1 a.m. when it was going on, but we watched the YouTube recording in class and saw people from all around the world. So cool. And like, these guys are here with you. And they're doing science with you right now from here and here, and they had messages for the kids, and I'm like, it was really cool.
So the United Nations acknowledged, so this is the first time this has ever happened, so there was a UN envoy who acknowledged, so our mission is on their space department, I don't know what they call it, but it is acknowledged. At my crew, we had a Nat Geo journalist, so our crew will be in a National Geographic story. We don't know the capacity for which, I feel like those pictures, there's an embargo on those, so she got beautiful photographs of me doing my EVAs on the moon. Really great shots of me with my astronaut suit, helmet, very beautiful. I can't share those. There's an embargo until that story is released. I think it's like 30 days or something. So Nat Geo, and also there was a documentary that was filmed as well. So I'm not quite sure when that documentary will come out, but there's really a lot of really cool things that came from this. So thank you so much for supporting me and like always lifting me on that. And I hope that you know that like I really tried my best to extend that as far through my reach as I possibly could.
We are so honored and proud of you. Honestly, thank you, Ms. Stanis. We are just humbled to have you present to us. Thank you so much. You did amazing work, and I don't know that everybody. We have a few new board members. Quickly, maybe like just make sure we all know what the Hunch program is and where we are in the annual process.
So Hunch stands for High Schools United with NASA to Create Hardware. It is a program where students create. Depending on which program you do, we participate in the design challenge and the culinary challenge. We create these things, we present them to NASA, and if selected, then you go to Johnson Space Center, you present that to NASA, and then they will use those designs in either the Artemis mission or on the International Space Station. So cool. And we've been attempting to get my first attempt ever, we made it to top 10, so it really is a cool experience to go to the top 10 finalists, and I've been trying my hardest to get Westlake to get there, so I'm hoping this will be that leg up, that they get that, and then we do have a culinary crew. We've been working closely with our mentor, like we want to make it this year, so what do we need to do? So we are hoping both the culinary crew and our chess board crew will make it to Johnson Space Center this year.
You are a gift to our school and our students. Thank you for doing what you do. You are amazing. Honestly, thank you. Thank you. Now, unless you want to stay for 148 more slides, you may run. I think next board meeting we should all wear those suits. Do you think we should all? I think that is amazing.
Yeah, I asked, I said, should I wear my fly suit? And then, like, of course, he was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, yes. I said, yes. Thank you again. Okay, team, those were our strategic actions. I only have one update on the agenda today, and the update is the release of the California School Dashboard. I keep joking that I have 152 slides. It's a lot of slides because the dashboard has grown in its complexity, it's grown in its breadth, because we now have a high school, and we're starting to have some data reports. So I'm going to step through it one step at a time. If some of it is not new to you, it's a review, but for some of you it might be like, oh, this is a learning opportunity. I do have a handout that I'd like you to be able to play along as we go, because on the screen the numbers get pretty small. So you can take notes and scribble on that as we go. And when it was your daughter's birthday, you had to stay super late. I feel like if we stay too late, we just kick Sanchez out. Agreed? Yeah. If it gets too late, we'll just kick her out. Let's see if I can get through this quickly-ish.
I came on my daughter's birthday.
And it was like the longest meeting ever. Yeah, yeah, I know. Okay. I said that. Okay. Okay, good. Right. Well, I blew it. Well, the California School Dashboard released today. So what does that mean? I mean, we took our California exams in April. We knew in June kind of how we did, but then all that data is compiled onto the dashboard. The dashboard, we get a preliminary view at the dashboard 7 days in advance. So I've been looking at the dashboard for 7 days, and then it released to the public this morning. Jen Caillou and I were like refreshing to get the California data that we needed to determine whether or not we'd met criterion 2. Let me give you a quick review of like how and why the California dashboard came about. You'll recall at some point California goes to the Local Control Funding Formula, LCFF. So the state of California says, hey, I used to give you general funds, then I used to give you categorical funds. You could only spend the categoricals on these categorized items. At some point California said, hey, you schools and districts and charters, you seem smart enough, we're just going to give you the money. Now they've wandered and they've started to create some categoricals. But let's pretend that it's still pure. And they said, we'll give you the control of your own funding, but you have to have a plan to meet our state priorities. We're like, great. What do you call that plan? Another 4-letter acronym, LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan, which you all received in June. So, hey, we'll give you the money. If you have a plan, here's your plan. It's the LCAP. Your board has to approve it about the same time we approve the budget, so your budget funds your plan. Great. So then we need a dashboard. What do you need a dashboard for? To see if you're making progress on the priorities that are established by the state of California. So tonight, I'm first going to unpack what are these priorities, how are they measured, and then how did we do? So tonight, I will discuss state and local measurements and kind of the background information. How are these things calculated? What do they mean? Then I'll look at hours for state measures and for local measures. And then I'm going to talk about the impact of the California dashboard on our charter renewal, because you all just read the charter renewal progress monitoring guidelines, so you're probably waiting for these results on slides 153 through 115. No, just kidding. Okay, here's the California dashboard. If you go to the California Schools dashboard, you just click on, Westlake, type in Westlake Charter School and find. You'll click on that link right there. It did become public today, November 13th, 2025. And this is from the toolkit. This is the 6 measures that are the state measures, not the local measures, the state measures. So under the guise of academic performance, you have English language arts and mathematics. You also have the English language progress indicator, English learners, or ELPI. We also have science this year. It's actually not couched under academic performance on the dashboard. It's couched under information only. But I'm like, I'm putting it in with academics because my slides, I got local control. Also under academic performance is the high school graduation rate, which, ta-da, we have high school graduates, and college and career readiness, which we also now have for high school. There's chronic absenteeism as an indicator, a non-academic indicator, and suspension rate as a non-academic indicator. You're probably thinking, like, I can count, that's more than 6. Well, the first one is 2. It's English and math. LP stands alone. You skip science, you get high school graduation. College and career readiness is number 4. Absenteeism is 5, and suspension is 6. So those are the 6 state indicators that we'll talk about tonight. So this is the first time in Westlake Charter School's history that we've had have data for all the indicators. Now we don't have colors for all the indicators because you need 2 years of data for colors, and we don't have 2 years of data for graduation rate and college and career readiness. We'll talk about that tonight. How do we measure and display performance on the California Schools dashboard? It's based on 2 factors for each of these categories. Factor 1 is, how is your current year doing? You took the CASP test in math. What's your current status? But you need a second factor to be placed on this red, orange, yellow, green, blue, red being low, blue being high. You need a second factor, and that second factor is change over time. That's right. How did you do last year compared to this year? And we're going to talk about that tonight, how 2 schools could have the exact same score side by side and have 2 different colors on the dashboard. And that's why we shouldn't use the dashboard and its colors to compare 2 schools. It's intentionally you comparing yourself to yourself. We'll talk about that tonight. So how do you calculate current performance? How do I calculate my current year is? I know you're like, they took the math test. They just get a math score, right? Well, yeah, kind of. But like, how do you calculate very high, high, medium, low, and very low? What's the numeric values? Well, there's this thing over here on the side of the dashboard, and you can see it on your handout. Each one of these handouts is a 5x5. These are called 5x5s in the state of California, right? They're 5 on the y-axis, 5 on the x-axis, and we're going to work together today to determine where we fall on each of these axes. In the top left corner under very high, for example, it says you have to be a plus 45 points to be very high. Well, what's it? Well, 45 points, what are these points? They're distance from met. What does that mean? It means that, like, if we all took the test and you needed 100 points to score, to meet the standard, then if we all scored 100, we'd be a 0. 45 up here indicates that on average, this school scored on average 45 points above 0, above meeting standard. And we'll unpack that right now. Imagine you had a school with 9 third graders. It's a pretty small school, great kids though. You got 9 third graders in your whole school. Here they are right here. I took their names off. Each one of these third graders took the English Language Arts exam, and these are their scores. These are scale scores. This kid got a 24-27. This kid got a 24-28. This kid got a 24-60. Everybody see, that's the score. To meet standard in English Language Arts for a third grader, you have to have 24-32. You with me? Right, that's how you meet standard. So that means this child is 5 points below standard, 4 points below standard, 28 points above standard. So this is the delta between their scale score and their minimum score to meet. And what we do is we sum the delta and we divide by the number of students. Super easy here, you only got 9 students. So you add all these up, they got 49 or 48 points, divide by 9. This school is a 5.3 above standard. So if you were to look at the English Language Arts 5x5 right in front of you, is the top left one on this chart, where is that school's current score? Are they low, medium, high, very high with a 5.3? Yeah, they're medium, right? What else do you need to know to determine what color? Because they could be green or they could be yellow on that medium chart. What else do you need to know? Yeah, how they did last year. So we're going to find out, what do we have to do next? We have to figure out their previous year. This school had a 15.25, and they were high. Because, right, they were above 10, so they were high. They were green or blue. We don't know which. But we knew that they were high, and they declined by 9.9. What color are they? They declined by 9.95. Yeah, they're yellow, right? Because they declined by more than 3 or less than 15. And there you go. Now, I just want you to pause real quick. This school scored a 5.3. We're all there, right? The school right next door, right across the street, 9 third graders, very similar school, they also scored a 5.3. But the previous year, they were a 1.0, and they went up 3 points. What color are they? They gained more than 3 points. They're green. Yeah, because they gained more than 3. Yeah, 3 to 14. So you're telling me school A and school B, same test scores, one's a green, one's a yellow. And that's why this thing is not supposed to be used to compare school A and school B. It is really intentionally designed to compare you to yourself. And I'll talk about that right now because it says, why does this matter? That's why this matters. My current reflection on this is that this distance from met's kind of cool because it really applies growth equitably and equally. Every point for every student counts exactly the same. So Johnny and Sally are both in class. Johnny is 2 grades below grade level. Sally is a GATE student. She's 2 grades above grade level. But compared to myself last year, Johnny grew 10 points. Feels pretty good about it. Sally also grew 10 points. She's going to get awards for being an academic powerhouse at lots of schools. But if we look at the growth, we go, hey, both these kids grew. Both these kids have the same delta, compared to last year. And so those 10 points are equitable. a school's ranking is based on comparison to itself, which is cool because that is a perfect demographic comparison. You are comparing you to you. We get in this game all the time, and we've talked about it, and I think through the strategic plan we shall decide how we want to talk about data, but we get this comparison all the time where we go, okay, 57% of our kids met standard. Let's go look at the school down the street. Well, they got more of these kids and less of those kids, and more of their demographic looks like that, and it's almost impossible for us to find perfect comparisons. And the dashboards kind of solved that for us. They said, hey, just compare yourself to yourself. Yeah, you might be a yellow, and the guy across the street might be a green based on growth or whatnot, but just compare yourself to yourself and try to grow each year and get your kids to grow, because every point of growth matters the same across the board. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Let's get into some data then and have some fun. We'll talk about some academic performance first. Obviously, these are from the CASP test that we take in the spring. And we'll be using these 3rd through 8th grade 5x5 charts. Really interesting. We have 11th graders in our data. Well, if you're only a high school, you have a different 5x5, and it's a totally different numeric ranking up here. And in part, it's because the scale scores are so different. So you have to do some, so they leave K-12s on the 3-8, and if you're a high school standalone, you have your own. But we are on the 3-8, our 11th graders are on the 3-8 5x5 with us. Yeah. So yeah, we're on that. We're on these charts, and these are the ones that I'm going to go over tonight. We're going to fill these in one at a time. So let's do ELA together. We'll dive in. Here's our English language arts slide. First thing we're going to learn is, how did we score? So go ahead and look at your chart and figure out, are we low, medium, high, or very high based on 9.9 points above standard?
The prettiest score that there ever was.
Oh, why? Hope, please explain.
That .1 is a killer.
If we would have been a 10, we would have been high. We could have only have been green or blue. But instead, we're a 9.9. We're a 0.1 below being high. So we are definitively medium, which is true. Now, did we grow, did we maintain, or did we decrease? And that'll tell you whether or not you are yellow or green. We declined by 8.7 points in English language arts, which you are all now looking down and realizing, what color are we? Yellow. And why? Because we declined, right? We didn't decline significantly, but we did decline, and so we are a yellow. And it is the first time in our school's history that we are a yellow in English language arts, and we got work to do, and we will do that work. However, no doom and gloom. We got a good-looking dashboard coming. I just brought the yellow out in the lead because the rest of it looks great. So there's, yeah, please.
Sorry to harp on the .1, but like it's like that. Just I think it's good data to have. Like
Sure.
I really appreciate how you're doing this because it's a difference in the whole. Like it's that.
It's literally.
tuned, right?
Yeah.
Like we've all gotten that like 89 on a test, that 79
Yeah.
where you're just like so
Yeah.
close. Like if we only could round up, like that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
But it's such a, it's still growth. Like I want to, like it's like we had growth last year.
No, well, no, we declined last
No,
year,
but I mean like
but
in
we,
our yellow, like we
Yeah.
still.
But-
So we're distance from Matt.
yeah,
Just, like,
we're still above standard as a
that's what I
school. And if we were a 9.9 and we had gone up 3 points instead of gone down 8 points, we'd have been a green. So that 9.9 qualifies you for green or yellow. We happen to fall on the yellow side. We know we got the work to do. And if we are able to go up, how many points would we have to go up this next year to be green? What would we have to do performance-wise to go up to green next year?
7.
So if you increase by 3, then definitively a 3 would pull you over into this column, and if you're medium, you'd be a green, or if you're higher, but if you went up 3 points, what would happen to our 9.9?
You're in high.
You'd automatically be, right? So like 0.1 of growth, and you're out of yellow. Now,
The same way 2.9 either way, right? It's you don't
Yeah.
we don't just have to increase, which
Yeah.
is why I was like going.
Just that maintain is pretty wide.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, no, really true, yeah. Once you get in the high, Maintain is all you, maintain or even slight growth. Yeah. So, there we go. We are yellow in English language arts. Let's talk mathematics. Here we are again. It's not the same 5x5 chart. What's fascinating is to be high in English language arts, you need to be 10 points above. To be high in mathematics, how many points do you need to be above? 0. If you meet standard, that's high performance. That's fascinating, right?
It's math.
Hey, is that math? Up to 34.9. So, okay, let's take a look at the numbers. The numbers say that we are at 23.9. Where does that put you on the chart? That puts us at medium. So, well, yeah, we're 23. We're just, because that's a negative 25. Yeah. So, we are, did I get that right? Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wait.
below standard.
Yeah, sorry. I'm like, where? There's no negative. Yes, of course.
Yes,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah, me too. I was like, wait, where's the negative?
Well, that was better than I thought.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we would have jumped like 50 points. Yeah.
We've had
So we are 23 points below standard. We are on medium. Sorry, everybody. And the next thing we need to know is how we did. Well, we increased by 5.9 points. And what happens when you increase by more than 3 points? You end up in this increase column, which means your math, which was orange, right? Yep. Mission accomplished. And we put some good work into that, and we're excited to announce that we're green. So let's come back to this chart. We're like English language arts, yellow, math, green. Okay, super cool. Do you want to kind of talk about like action steps that are being taken right now to move us forward? Because we know that we have work to do in English language arts, but we're still 23 points below in math. So it's not like we're like, hey, we'll never stop. Even when we're very high, we'll never stop because that's who we are. We'll just always try to grow because this whole model is a growth model. But the director of C&I, our principals, our director of student support services, our teaching staff have really been digging in deep. I mean, our K-8 professional development on illustrative math has been rocking for multiple series now. It's a 6-part series. I think we're in part 4 or I had 5 yesterday. I thought we had 4 yesterday. So anyway, part 5 yesterday. So I mean, our teachers have been working hard. They've been rolling up their sleeves. They've been trying new things. They've been visiting each other's classrooms. I mean, I have seen so much like teachers roll up their sleeves, work hard on this that I feel really good about the work that's happening. I think it is moving us in the right direction on mathematics. And again, if we maintain, fine. But if we grow 3 points, that gives us another year of green. Also, our PLC teams, our professional learning community, or our collaborative teams, the K-8, they're collaborating regularly around our PLC questions. At the high school, our teams are also in bi-weekly department teams addressing vertical articulation, grading, and things like that. So the work is happening in collaboration. The work is definitely happening around professional learning or professional development. It's aligned with our strategic plan goal, Area 2.2, which is collaboration. But I want to jump in and also talk about intervention. There's a lot of intervention happening this year, more than ever before. We're utilizing data collection cycles to identify students for who's up next. Our instructional aid team for intervention are pulling more intervention groups than we ever have before. Really good stuff. We're utilizing a couple of new pieces. I mean, the reading phonics piece we've used before, but this Kickstart math intervention is getting some traction. Also, at the 6-8 on the middle school side, in electives, we have multiple math intervention electives. Really good work happening out there. These Imagine Math Minute Challenge, which I just think is just kind of cool and fun, is sweeping the school because like Westlake does when you light a small fire and you get a towering inferno. We've launched the Imagine Math Minute Challenge, so students are trying to get minutes at school and at home, and we're getting prizes for it. Sally?
My favorite part of that is Rojo coming around when your class gets 60 minutes or more a week, and she comes with her little prize box, and then the kids who get the 60 minutes get to go get a prize.
Well, yeah, and the kids who were like, I wasn't here yesterday, but I heard there was prizes. Where's Miss Rojo? Yeah, right.
How many minutes did I get? 45? I got 15 minutes to go? Okay.
I actually was going to build a slide celebrating Katie Sanchez. Sanchez, could we get a little shout out? We got notified by the illustrative math team, the Imagine Math team, that across the entire state of California, they recognize individual teachers for outstanding performance on these minute challenges. And our very own board member, Katie Sanchez, was recognized across the entire state of California as a, oh, I wish I had the term. I was going to build a slide, as a leader in that area.
It was for the month, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, she got an award for the month of last month for rocking it in Imagine Math. Was it because you just...
They do those monthly, and it's like levels passed, whereas like this minute challenge is just minutes completed,
Right.
whether they pass or not. That's right. So
Yeah, which actually is critical, right? Because, I mean, it's one thing to be just spending time on it, but when kids are leveling up, and we talk about growth on the dashboard, that's what we're trying to accomplish, yeah. Well, good job. Good job for being a leader in California. Obviously, you know, utilizing the MTSS framework to support our students' growth is a big deal for us. I acknowledge MTSS because we have amazing teachers doing phenomenal Tier 1 instruction, and they are honing their tools through professional learning, professional development. But these extra interventions are Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions. That's what the pyramid is intended to do, right? MTSS is a multi-tiered approach to increasing student performance, and so, you know, we just like to kind of call that piece out. All right, more data? All right, we did English language arts, we did mathematics, now let's do LP, which is the English Learner Progress Indicator. Kind of unpack this for just a second so everybody knows what we're talking about, right? We're talking about English learners, right? English learner progress. So each year we identify the number of students who are identified as English learners. Those students will all take the LPAC. The LPAC is the English Language Proficiency Assessment in California. So if you come to our school and say, oh yes, we speak a language other than English at home, you would take an initial screener to determine whether or not you qualify as an English learner. Once you're qualified as an English learner, you have a process to go through to reclassify and to no longer be an English learner, but be considered English only, right? So there's a process. The LPAC is a 4-level exam. And the LP, which is the English Learner Progress Indicator, this is what we're measuring on the dashboard. The LP measures what percentage of your students, your English learners, have made some progress on the LPAC. I know, there's a lot of acronyms. So let's assume you are a 1, that's a level 1, very entry level, almost no English, right? You're new to the country. You learn enough over the course of a year on the LPAC to jump from a 1 all the way up to a 2. That's what you're looking for, is growth from a 1 to a 2 to a 3, a 3 to a 4. After multiple years of utilization of the LPAC, the state of California decided to break this down into smaller chunks because they were not seeing as much growth as they wanted. So they're saying, hey, you can jump from a 1 to a 2 low, and a 2 low to a 2 high, and a 2 high to a 3 low, and so forth. Does that make sense? So what it does, I mean, it takes a 4-jump series and turns it into a 6-jump series. And so what we're measuring is, hey kids, again, it's growth over time. You're a 3, you're a 2 high, I'm a 1. Each of us is just trying to make growth. So the LP is what percentage of your kids made growth. So let's take a look. Again, here's those percentages over here for where we're at. I want to remind you that for the first time in school history, we had an indicator that was red. We didn't see it coming. We didn't even understand it at the time. We're like, what's LP? Oh, what is, I mean, because the accountability system post-pandemic was, it was rolling down a flight of stairs and we were trying to catch up. So in 23, we're red. In 24, we're orange. And now we're going into 25. 60% of our students made progress. Is that low, medium, high, or very? That is high. And because we made 60% progress and we were orange last year, you would suspect this massive increase of 17.7 would push you all the way over to blue. Yeah, it's a pretty cool deal right there. So like, let's just kind of, oops, I was going to put it on the big chart. But yeah, when we get to the big chart, you'll go, okay, so you're yellow in English language art by 0.10 or 0.1. Now you're green in math. Now you're blue in LP. Right? So things are starting to head in the right direction. Let's kind of talk about the work that's happening here because it can't stop. It's really critical right now. Oh, Sean.
Just a quick, so this particular one is comparing it's each student to each student, right? So
True story.
if you move a student out of it, they're not like, well, that student didn't grow.
Yeah, it's a great
because
point.
we're
Yeah.
not measuring
Yeah.
them anymore.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great point. Yes, it's student to student, not cohort to cohort. It is student to student by individual, and each student has to have 2 years of data to be part of the. We got 15 new kindergartners who are English learners this year. Well, they're not part of the data because we only got one. We'll only have 1 year of data on them, right? So it takes 2 years to have data to be included in this. And once you reclassify, you're out of the game, right?
Does this assessment, is it for all grade levels?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just want to make sure, because we were like talking about the
Yeah.
different.
No.
and it's
100%.
different than
Oh
CAS.
gosh, no. It is K-12. 100%. You're gonna you start to get our trajectory is typical reclassification in K3. So you're pushing to reclassify by third grade. If you get somebody in kindergarten and you do the right work, you're hoping to get that kind of going. We know there was a pandemic bubble where things didn't transpire the way they should. You do have latecomers, those enroll in fourth grade with no language. You're like, hey, no English language. So we're like, okay, it's harder in the older grades because these are challenging exams. You tend to experience some bottlenecking around too high to 3. So it's easier for us to move somebody from 1 to too low, from too low to too high, but it gets somewhat complex. It's just more complex language on that side. There are English-only students who would probably be challenged on the LPAC. You're holding people to a fairly high standard, and so you get some bottlenecking, and then you have kids all the way up in high school who are still just haven't qualified out. They'll get bottlenecked at 3. There's also multiple data pieces that you can utilize to reclassify somebody. So if you got somebody bottlenecked in LPAC, but you got good CASP scores, you can put those things together and reclassify. But you don't want to reclassify until you're sure that this person's ready, because while we have them. So.
And it tests on reading, writing, speaking, and listening.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, it's a comprehensive exam. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, great dialogue. So it's important to us though because we reclassified 60%. What would happen if you only got 50% this year? Well, right, dropping by 10 points would drop you all the way down. So it's really important that once you have a good year that you try to follow up with it because the numeric drop really hits you on these declines significantly. So important for us to do the work. We always have our Director of Student Support Services. We have our English learner, Tosa, teacher on special assignment, Jess Gashby, who's phenomenal. Also, Reese Ornelas up at the high school doing phenomenal work. And all of our teachers who are doing integrated and designated ELD, English language development in their classrooms. We have ELD support groups, K-5 small group. We're also investigating this Lexia EL pilot. It's really targeted. It's only for Core 5. I'm not sure what we would do. But hey, we're looking at a pilot right now and saying, hey, we've been working hard on math. I mean, our teachers are crushing it on math. It's hard to say, like, hey, how are we going to address ELA and keep the hammer down on LP? And we go, hey, maybe this Lexia thing is a bit of a something we can use as we develop our English language arts chops. We're doing some structured literacy in the spring, things like that. We have a middle school elective. We have high school designated ELD class and also flex block time, integrated ELD. I mean, obviously all of our teachers who are utilizing GLAD and QTEL. Several teachers have been retrained or trained for the first time in this last year because we now have an Everest Academy 6-part series around GLAD and QTEL, which is fantastic. Small group instruction. We have, for the first time, LPAC interim assessments, which are pretty cool, and we're starting, especially at the high school, we've really tried to utilize them in instruction to see how it goes. And it's a new tool for us, and so we're utilizing some of that. So I'm excited about the work. I mean, going from red to blue, I mean, it shouldn't be the California dashboard. It should be the California roller coaster. I mean, because, a 3-point slide this way or that way, and you're going to go from blue back to yellow. So, we'll just keep our eye on it. But there you go. You're starting to shape up here. English language arts, math, and LP. I put science under academic performance because I have local control. Because I feel it's silly to call it information only. It is an academic core subject that we all believe very strongly in. So let's dive in. The recognition, though, is that it is a new indicator, and it is couched on the dashboard under the topic of informational purpose. It's not couched under the academics. It is only tested in 5th grade, 8th grade, and 11th grade. That's what really makes it different from math and English language arts, among a few other things. Let's dive in and kind of look at the work. We have been awarded 59.2 science points, which is fantastic. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out soon. So on your chart that says, where are we? Yeah, it feels good, right? Hey, we're a high scoring science school. Say that 3 times fast. So I just can't help myself, but like, we got 59.2 science points. What is a science point? Rabbit hole warning coming. I mean, it's a good time for a break if you need one, but like, the question is, what is the science point? Because every other metric for academics is distance from standard, right? Or percentage of students who've done a thing like make a growth on LP. I get it, I don't get it. So we just went down this rabbit hole because we just couldn't not, right? So we've read everything, and there's just not enough writing on it yet. What is a science point? Well, the answer is it's not a distance from standard. It's not.
Okay, so there's not a standard.
It's not a distance from standard. It is, the California Department of Education has taken the distance from standard, and then they've converted it to a new scale. What does that look like? So there's no negative numbers on this scale. So what it said is like, and I'll unpack on the next slide, but like each student receives a scale score demonstrating distance from standard, right? I scored a 168. You needed a 214 to meet standard, so I am a negative 42, right? Now they take that negative 42 and they convert it to science points based on a science point scale.
So they're curving the test.
They're curving the test. I didn't say it. You said it, Board President Golick.
I'm sorry, but that's what essentially.
That is what's happening.
By setting a new scale.
Yeah. It's exactly what we're doing. And I'm sure there's a good reason. Here's an example. This is actually our lowest scoring 5th grade student. We all know we scored high on science, so if we feel great about how we did, but this child scored a 168. The required scale score to meet standard was 214 in 5th grade. It's different in each grade. So the distance from standard would be a negative 46. Cool. In science points, that's an 18.
Yeah, it's totally a scale.
That's totally an 18. Now, what the instructions say to do if you wanted to calculate it for yourself is it tells you how, but doesn't tell you why, which drives me nuts. You just take the 5th grade score and subtract 150. That's how you.
Scored less than 150.
But that's how you get. That's how you get it. So. Okay, so then what's an 18? Well, an 18 is a level 1. Now we, CASP nerds know, right, 4 levels. Standard not met, standard approaching standard, met standard. That's that met, distance from met, right, or exceeded standard. So I go, okay, these guys are the not mets. These are approaching the met. This must be the met because it's the 3. And these are the, okay, well, that's good to know. So there's that. Okay, so very low is below 34. Very high is above, wait a minute, but 65 is very high. 65, oh, so very high is the bottom of meeting standard. So if you got a 4, you're like off the chart, which is fascinating.
So if you're in the middle of level 2, you're a medium.
So what you said is it's probably a curving situation. We're curving the data. So that.
But we don't know the high score and we don't know the true low score, so we can't actually do a distributed curve.
Right, I assumed it was a 0 to 100, but I don't.
Yeah. Obviously they've scaled it that way.
Yeah.
But subtracting 150 from your.
And it's 150 from 5th grade. It's the different for each one because the scale scores are. But I didn't go down that rabbit hole on slides because I thought, well, this is already 152 slides. I just think it's interesting. I want you as board members to be able to walk out to the grocery store, and when someone says science points, you're like, I totally know what a science point is. So now you do, but you don't because nobody does.
As a parent, though, it's so misleading because we get it and it's sold, like, it is packaged as an academic score, right? When you get it, like, I look at it and.
Science, yeah.
I didn't think it was informational only.
I know. And I'm actually pitching it as an academic. And we suspect, and don't put me on the record, YouTube, but like in our admin team, we're like, well, because we're nerding out on it because we've had this data for a week, right? So I suspect that they're going to science point math and English too. Don't you think? Yeah. Because everyone's so tired of being negative 23 and a medium. Yeah. Wouldn't it be better to be an 18? That feels good. I'm an 18. So I wonder if this is experimental and we're all moving toward a point scale curve system or not. We also all think that science is going to become an academic performance indicator. I mean, we think that's going to happen, but I think there is a science gap, right? My science friend, like there's just this science gap, and I think California is curving because schools need to get caught up before they.
Well, and it's hard when you're. So part of the difference here, right, is also when and how they're tested. So, right, the cohorts, you have a 3-year gap between when they're tested.
Totally.
And if so much happens in those 3
if you have a transient population.
Yeah.
If you have a 30% transient population, by the time you go from 5th grade to 11th grade, you might have, statistically, it's possible you might not have any of the same kids.
Right. And so I think maybe there's part of that, like holding you to the others, like
totally.
If you were going year over year, they might be able to put you on the same one. Like even current year to the prior year doesn't feel quite right because none of the same students are taking the test.
Yeah, so you're right. I'm just being, a little snarky about the whole thing. But yeah, there might be a good reason. They just didn't write it down very well. So I went, I just wanted to read all the docs and come to you and go, hey, this all makes sense. And they gave me the how. They just didn't really give me the why. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? It bothers me. So, it's fun, right? Yep, all right.
Same thing happened when CASP scores started to come.
Remember?
Like, can we figure out what this is?
What does this mean? Right? No, we're not going to tell you until we know. Yeah. So, back to the business at hand. We are a high-scoring science school, but how did we perform over time? This is fascinating. We maintained that 0.1. If we could have just used that toward English language arts.
It would have been so helpful.
Bam! Just kidding. So, as a school maintaining, we are green, which then I start to look at this dashboard and I go, hey, you're a yellow, green, blue, green,
At least it's all in the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a green, right? Average green.
Right. So let's jump forward now into graduation rate. So graduation rate, you can see right here that we had 100% of our students graduate. We all knew that. We have celebrated that. We feel great about that. But we don't have a color because you need 2 years of data, right? But if we did have 2 years of data, and if we did have 100% of our students graduate, where would we be? We'd be very high. Now this is fascinating because they've said that it's statistically impossible to get this gray box, and I'm like, well, watch this. It's very close. We might be the only school. They might have to rebuild these charts because of us. So we're 100% graduation rate. We have lots to be proud of. That is a massive celebration. You can see how low this very high is 95%. High is 90.5. So that just says that we are like well above standard on the high, which feels great. Here's some discussion points for us to talk about. One, it's a new academic indicator for Westlake Charter Schools, so we have no color on it because we don't have 2 years of data. There's no change over time, therefore there's no color. I want to talk about projecting what happens next year. I want to talk about it in a way that I will try to stay calm, but I'm a little frustrated. Because in the great state of California, they support and encourage full inclusive environments like ours. However, we currently have 94 seniors today. We have 3 amazing young people who are have individual education plans that are designated as extensive needs, and because of those extensive needs, those children will each walk that stage in a cap and a gown and receive a certificate of completion that is appropriate for their meeting their goals on their personalized, individualized education plan. So they will have made a trajectory that was appropriate for them, but they will not be counted as graduates in the indicator for next year. That's also a little frustrating because they will be counted in the denominator. So they will place them in the denominator, but will not allow them in the numerator, and that's a little frustrating. We also have a student who will, we suspect, he could graduate next year, but his individual education plan since freshman year is like, hey, if we need to take 5 years, we will, because as you know, a student who has an individualized education plan can stay in a public high school until they turn 22. Right? This child is 17. If he needs to go 7 years, we're good. But the great state of California will count him in the denominator this year, even though his individualized education plan, which is endorsed by federal and state law, for him to become a fifth-year senior, they will count him in the denominator this year and next year. And so you're just like, oh, California. I'm a little frustrated because I am a believer that these children deserve, to be counted as graduates because they've met their individualized education plans. And we are not a school that sends anybody away. We are a school that fully includes, and that's frustrating. So it says if one student doesn't make it, one of our general education students doesn't make it, if just one doesn't make it, we'll still stay high, but we will have declined significantly. Because if you start to do the math, it's pretty easy to go through this gauntlet here, pick up one kid who misses the mark second semester and ends up having to graduate during summer school, and you end up at 95, I'm sorry, you end up below 95, which would be a 5.1 loss. Yeah. The y-axis? Steve and I argue about it. I was like, what's the matter? Yeah.
Like, I'm trying, I'm too tired.
Yeah.
Is percentage.
It is. It's
right? And then across the top, it's points?
I believe those are percentages as well.
It's percent, okay.
I believe those are percentages as well.
Because it says by 5.1 P points or more.
Yeah. Percentage points, yeah. Yeah, it is point. It is percentages. We are only calculating in percentages, yeah.
And that, so in theory, it's 90 divided by 95 would be our percentage. We're 94. Yeah. Okay.
So we currently have 94 students who are all theoretically eligible to graduate. We know that 4 of them will not graduate by the way the state of California determines they should. And so those 4 automatically, and I think that's 4%. It's like 4.2%.
4.3, yeah.
4.3. So yeah, you lose 4.3 right off the bat, and if you lose one more kid, you slide under the 5, and you end up in orange. So here's a school, by all rights, we are blue this year. We don't have 2 years of data, so we can't claim it, but we are 100% graduation rate. You're not going to find a lot of those. We're 100% graduation rate, celebrating blue, and by really like any other standard, you're saying if we have one kid not graduate, and then we have 4 kids who are served incredibly well by our fully inclusive program, if we go orange next year, I'm buying an orange shirt, and I'm going to be proud of these kids walking this stage, and I won't care 2 bits about this dashboard. So I want to warn us that, that reality's coming. Now, I've got good news because I want you to think about the out years from there. Now we've dipped down to 95 and we're in orange. Where does 95 put you the next year if you just stay maintain?
Very high.
Yeah, put you very high, you blue. It's maintain. What if we go from 95 down 1 point to 94?
We're still there.
You're not here.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
You'll be green.
Because if we lost 5, in your hypothetical, we dropped to 94, right? We would be in high. So we wouldn't hit the gray box.
No, we wouldn't. My brain
is
I was trying to hit the gray box.
to do the gray
No,
box.
sorry, I was trying to. You
there's
can't.
no way you can
You
hit
can't
the
because it's
grade
5.1.
box, right?
Yeah.
Because if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
lose 5.1, then we drop to high.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I was proposing that you could, but I realized as I was speaking, it's 5.1,
Okay,
not 5.
So
Yeah.
that's where my
Yeah.
like trying to understand. Like,
Sorry,
it says it's possible.
I baited you into that. My bad.
You baited
My bad.
my little data brain.
But what happens on this roller coaster is it flattens out because now you've arrived somewhere around 94, 95, 96, and you're up of 2 points and you're down 2 points, and you're up 2 points and you're down 2 points, and you're like, oh, okay. It's just this 100 kind of set us up for a little bit of failure. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. I think next year you're orange, and the following year you're green blue, and then you're green for the out years. Based on what we see, and we've kind of looked at all 4 current years, and we're like, hey, you're gonna go orange, then you're gonna go green blue.
But I think the important point on all this that we've talked about, right, is regardless of the color, are we making mission-driven choices, right? So if we end up orange next year, it's because we're living by our creed and are supporting the students that are our students.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I guess if there's any takeaway from all these colors tonight, it's that, right? We're living by what we've set our goals to. And yes, the colors are going to change from year to year, but if we can know we're doing what's right and following that, then I think that's an important takeaway.
Yeah. It's just tough because as we look to recruit and people use this dashboard to compare to the school down the street, and we've already demonstrated we will outperform the school down the street because we'll be 95 or 94, and there'll be lots of schools around us that are green at 88. Yeah, 90. There will be. So anyway,
it just reminds me too of when we had the whole "Are we one K8
or are we two charters?
Right? Because there was a game to be played.
Totally.
On scores, when you add in the older kids, not for any number of reasons.
Totally.
Things get more challenging, interest in all of the things, right?
Yeah.
And we decided no, we wanted to be one school. We are Westlake Charter School.
Yeah.
And I think that plays in here too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I love it. So we're yellow, green, blue, green. It's gray, but I think we're blue. I put it up there as local control.
We're blue this year.
We're blue this year.
We're blue this year.
Because we are at 100% graduation rate. How is that not blue? It's gray. It's gray blue. Okay.
There should be confetti that comes down the screen when you collect it.
College and career readiness. Very similar situation as you can imagine, right? Except there's something to call out here. I just wanted to call out. It says 82% prepared. 82% of our 100% graduates. Wait, what? So I pulled the data. I pulled the docs. Okay, here's the doc. This is how you qualify. Here's what it says. If you meet A to G and one other thing, you pass a college course. We have now submitted an appeal regarding the discrepancy. We have called the Natomas Unified School District's data super nerd, Dr. Rochelle Pfeiffer. She's the smartest person, Rochelle Pfeiffer, and she said, "Hey, let me look." So because we've had the data for 7 days now, and so she says, "Hey, I can't figure it out. You have 100% graduation rate A to G. You have 100% of your kids who got college credits. And at first we thought, oh, we must have coded something wrong. We pushed the wrong button. So we called Rochelle Pfeiffer and said, hey, did we code something wrong? And she cannot find why. So she has helped us to file an appeal. Now, if the appeal doesn't go through, then we don't go from 100 down to, but ethically, I want to be 100 because that's what we earned, right? So regardless, even at 82, the cutoff is 70 or 75. I can't see that far. So 70. So even at 82, we've scored very high. And the discussion on this is the same as before, right? It's a new academic indicator. There's no color because there's no previous data. Projecting into next year, if we were to end up at 95, because I just told you, there's definitively 4 students who are not going to be prepared as college and career ready in the traditional fashion. We think we'd be a very high declined at 95. Now, you could be a very high significantly declined if something goes sideways and you can end up with a yellow. But then again, what happens is in the subsequent years, the next year out, you've established a high benchmark and you're varying by 2 to 3 percentage points There are some changes that are coming down the pike on what college courses will be accepted after 2026 in that category, and we're doing some work on that. We'll bring it out to the board at some point here and talk about it. But for right now, we think, we're blue. I'm calling it. We're blue today. Gray. We will probably be green, decline next year, and then I think we'll maintain at blue or green.
Well, it depends. If your appeal is successful, we could drop. But if it's not successful, I actually think that we would help us stay blue.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so if we go 100% this year, it does change the metric. Yeah, it does. Well,
because it doesn't change our very high status. That's the interesting thing.
But it changes how far you can drop.
Yes.
From 100 to 95 is a 5-point drop, but 82 to 95, right, is a 13-point growth. And now you're blue. So yeah, the game, but we are gonna appeal because it's the right thing to do. But I kind of wanted to cheat. Let's be honest. I want to be like, oh no, don't appeal. You got to appeal.
If somebody is a dig, like they like to dig into data, they're gonna go. They said everybody had to do this. Why aren't
and you know what? Every one of those children, young men and women who graduated, they deserve to be acknowledged as 100% college degree ready. But once again, I put a gray blue up there because I wanted to. So I'm going to do something I don't think I would typically do, but I kind of started nerding out on it, and it was like some predictions. They're not quantitative predictions like I have data that says we're going to go up in ELA, but I just want to play the game a little bit. Like, what would happen if, let's just imagine, this is where we are today. You're yellow, green, blue, gray, blue, right? I told you in a prediction model, I think we'll go orange, yellow in graduation and CCI. Let's imagine science and LP stay the same, math stays the same. Let's just assume, right? Maybe LP goes to green. But I'm hopeful that we'll get that 0.1 point in ELA, and we'll go to green. Okay, so what happens? It's 2026 next year. We go to green, blue, orange, yellow. But then what we know is that in 27, and I just described it, like the roller coaster flattens out, and we end up in this model where I don't see why we couldn't be green with a couple of blues sprinkled in there. And I go, well, what are you going to be doing in 27? Why is that significant? Well, the dashboard will have felt like it's stabilized, but Westlake will be standing in the Natomas Unified School District boardroom seeking charter reauthorization. That wouldn't stink. I mean, it'd be kind of cool. And again, we're not all dashboard all the time. We're not that type. We're not test score driven school. It doesn't hurt to be on a trajectory that says, hey, maybe at that time when the spotlight's shining the brightest, that we're looking not so bad on the dashboard. So we're doing the work. We got tons of work ahead of us to do. I'll dive into the non-academic measures. We're about halfway through. Halfway through? I'll go quick. Non-academic measures. Let's talk about chronic absenteeism, right? Chronic absenteeism. Does everybody know what chronic absenteeism means? What percentage of school do you miss to be chronically absent? 10%? How many school days are there? 180, because you all got the calendar in the packet tonight, right? Yeah, so if you miss 18 days of school, you'd be considered chronically absent. So this is a measurement of what percentage of your students are chronically absent. Let's take a look. 13.4% chronically absent. That's high, right? That is high. We want to get down below 10 just to get to medium. Don't you feel like we wouldn't be? I mean, there was a time pre-pandemic when this wouldn't have been the case, but we've had an attendance swing, and so you go, oh, that doesn't feel great, but we had a significant decline, or decrease, which is good. In this case, decline is good. So you're like, wait, what? We declined? That's good. Yeah, we're seeing the trajectory head in the right direction now. Now, what's funny about this metric is if you're the ADA calculator, if you're the person capturing ADA and being like, hey, that's how the budget gets built, it is plausible that you reduce chronic absenteeism, but don't reduce absenteeism. Does that make sense? So all of us come to school every day, everyone here. I'm chronically absent, I miss 10%, and you're chronically absent. Now your chronic absenteeism drops down, but these people all get the flu and miss one extra day of school, and their 10 days of school made up for the 10 days that you were absent, right? Sorry, I picked on you. So it's possible. So it's a funny metric. This is not a pure ADA metric. This is not attendance. It's chronic absenteeism. It's an interesting thing because this is couched on the dashboard under engagement. Are your students engaged? Do your students want to come to school? Because we think that kids with high absenteeism, like chronic absenteeism, are disengaged from school, which is funny because we all think about joyful learning and kids wanting to be here. So it's why it's metric this way. So we are doing some work, lots of it, around absenteeism. I don't want to come out and celebrate that things are moving in the right direction, but we are starting to see some slight indicators that maybe chronic absenteeism might drop a bit this year. But we're working with the new school status attend program with regular communication. It's helping us target like who's on track for chronic absenteeism. That's probably the best part of that program is that we are now on a weekly basis being like, all right, reach out and really know like who's on track for chronic absenteeism, not just nagging people for being absent, although it probably feels that way. And then we're going to be launching some positive attendance campaigns because that's what we want to kind of do. We don't want to be just harping on people about attendance. What we want to do is flip it and make it like, hey, let's reward you for coming to school and celebrate that. Suspension rate, similar metric. What are we measuring with suspension rate? Does anybody know? Is it the number of kids total? What is it? It is the percentage of students who've been suspended at least one time. It's not the total number of suspensions. So I won't point at you this time. I'll point at Steve. Steve's been suspended like 15 times. So you're like, well, on the chart are we 15? But he's a 1. He's a 1. I've only been suspended once. I was hanging out with Steve. But I'm a 1. So I'm a 1. He's a 1 on this chart. So again, that's really interesting because it's not asking how many suspension days does your school manifest and utilize and lose ADA. What's it saying is like how many kids on your pyramid or your MTSS pyramid get all the way up to this tier 3 level of needing a suspension, right? Because and when you talk about like intervention, that's a pretty hardcore intervention to say, hey, you need to not be at school.
So is it a percentage of students? Is that how it's?
It's a percentage of your school. Yeah. Good question. Yeah. What percentage of your school has been suspended at least one time? And we are at 2.9. Which, if you don't know, that's really high for Westlake. Yeah.
Does that count in school suspension and out of school
This
suspension?
is only an out of school suspension. Yeah. And also, you can. There's some different gamesmanship here where you can use restorative justice day in school for an out of school suspension and reverse the code a little bit. So there's some gamesmanship. Some people are great at it. You know, we're probably not trying to play the game. What we're trying to do is love up and serve kids, you know. So we use a lot of restorative justice days, but not so much for the purpose of the dashboard. Maybe we should. This is high. I mean, if you remember when the suspension rate came out originally, you know, we were typically below 1%, you know, and that was kind of a badge of honor. We have a high school now, and, you know, there are some behaviors in high school you're going to, you know, people are going to get suspended. It's more prevalent in California high schools than it is in California elementary schools, but we have had quite a bit. Look, ours increased 0.4. It was, so that means the year before it was pretty high, and it increased, which puts us as an orange in suspension rate. I did pull the data today because I wanted to know. Last year at this time we were a K-12, and this year we are a K-12. It may be meaningless because you never know what happens on a Friday tomorrow. But numerically, at this time last year, you had 18 individual. Amy Wells.
I feel like you just jinxed me for tomorrow.
We're gonna get a dog.
He knocked on wood, though. It's okay.
All right. At this time last year, you had 18 unique suspensions. So 18 Steves and Johns who had been suspended at least one time. This year, on this day, you have 5. So, you know, but current data doesn't predict future outcomes. But it does kind of go like, okay, it's something we are taking seriously. We're not denying suspension if it's warranted or necessary, but I think our philosophy right now is like, hey, like, attendance is important. Having kids in the instructional environment, trying to make sure we're utilizing other interventions like restorative justice is important. So, this little thing on the screen is messed up. There's the pumpkin patch. This is Nerali, lost in the pumpkin patch. I think she might still be there, except this kid saved her. Yes, the corn maze. So yes, our Director of Student Support Services, our Director of School Leadership, Emily Batten, our principals and assistant principals are really charged with this and really have started to do a really nice job of rounding up the team weekly and looking at data and really looking at like who is kind of heading in that direction, whose behavior is starting to ramp up. We have this referral sheet with behavior trends now, which is new for us. We have a tiered approach to discipline and lots of MTSS support plans. Big shout out obviously to Amy Wells, Dean Sterling Wynn up at the high school, but also Abby. What's Abby's last name? Pardick. I just talked to her yesterday. Abby Pardick, who's a PBI specialist here, doing some good work. So we think we're heading in the right direction, but we'll report back on that piece for sure. Oh, this is a informational item. Remember the TAMU, the teacher assignment metric? We, under the information, are registered as 78.2% clear, which is below the state average. Start scratching on that, looking at like how many teachers it says we have. This data is clearly from 2023, 2024. So it's 2 years in arrears. Which is right, and it only has 63 teachers, and we're like, well, we had more than 63, so we started scratching. It's like, oh, well, it doesn't count ed specialists, doesn't count TOSAs, it doesn't count. So there's an interesting metric at play here. Fine, everyone's got the same metric, so we're not shirking it, but this includes short-term, long-term permits, local assignments, as well as interns. So what's interesting about this is that, like, well, if we're getting dinged for having interns, okay. Those interns eventually should turn into credentialed teachers. So we had 8 interns on staff in the 2023-2024 school year. 4 of them are counted in this data. 4 of them are not counted in this data. But I wanted to report all 8 of those interns are currently still at Westlake, and 6 of them are now credentialed teachers, and 2 of them will be credentialed at the end of this year. And so while yep, we're going to take the ding on the report for having interns. If we pour into them and we develop them, I mean, to name names, you've got some teachers who you want to be in their class, right? I mean, you got some great teachers out there who came through the intern program. So, yep, while we're going to get dinged on this, I think this data is going to be similar next year because it's going to report out on the 24-25. But when you get to the 25-26, you're going to see it up. So, again, about that time, we're standing in the NUSD boardroom with an improved dashboard. I think these numbers will be better in those out years. I've kind of assigned this one to me. There you go. Say no to drugs and say yes to chicken or veggie nugs, which is great. I think we're such an inclusive school. I love this. If you're not into chicken, let's go veggie nugs. I love that. Through the strategic planning process, we're really evaluating opportunities to improve teacher retention. I say that to the people who are going to be building the strategic plan, but I'm telling you right now, like, it is screaming in the data from the teacher side, from the family side, like, whatever you do, take care of those teachers, right? And so that's obviously going to come up, and I think that plays into this teacher assignment piece. Engaging in early outreach for open positions to strengthen the pool. We end up with interns because we're trying to hire in August because, somebody wants to extend their maternity, which is great, but, like, if we could know earlier, we can get on hiring. So, we'll just try to work on that practice for sure. And then support the current intern and induction candidates. It's really important, like what I said, like you put people in classrooms, we got to pour into our people so they become long-term people, right? They become, I think it takes a while to become a Westlake teacher. There's a lot of moving parts here. It's not show up, open the curriculum, follow the page. There's a lot of moving parts here, and I think the longer you stay here, the better you get at the gig. And so working on retention opportunities would really help us in this data area. Dashboard local measures. Love that picture. They're cute. you'll recall that all the measures we just went through were the state measures, and these are the local measures. The local measures are: how are your basic conditions? Are your facilities well kept and clean? How are your academic standards? Do your teachers have access to curriculum materials that teach to the standards? How's your school climate survey? We utilize the California Healthy Kids School Surveys. How's your parent-family engagement? And how's your access to courses? Do you have a broad course of study? We can either claim to have not met or to have met, or you can claim to have not met for 2 or more years. Right. We've claimed to met them all, because that's what we always do, because I think we always have. And we've, you all receive it in June, so you see it, but we have met, and they've all been posted on the dashboard appropriately. I think we're almost bringing it to a close here. So applying the dashboard to the charter renewal. You all read the charter renewal guidebook. I lose my words there. Thank you, the monitoring guideline. What it says is that to become a high track renewal, we're probably going after criterion 2. So to qualify for criterion 2, we must achieve the following steps. Here they come. Step 1, we must outperform the state average as a whole school in math, English, and LP. If you do that, you go on to step 2, and we must outperform the state in 5 key demographic areas: African American, Hispanic, Latinx, socioeconomically disadvantaged, students with disabilities, and English learners. And if you've outperformed the state in those 5 subgroups in math and in English language arts, then you've checked the box for a high track school for criterion 2, but you have to do that 2 years in a row. Last year, not this dashboard, but last year's dashboard, we missed it because our English learners, remember we were orange last year's English learners, we missed it by just a couple of points. So this year as we came in, we're like really looking and hoping we're going to make it. This has to happen in 2 consecutive years. So let's take a look. The data just posted for California today. I was really hopeful, but we didn't know. So English language arts, all, state of California is a -8. We're a 9.9, almost a 10, if you didn't notice. So we beat the state in English language arts, we beat the state in math, and we beat the state in LP. The analysis is we achieved step 1. You with me? Yeah. Cool. Step 2, here are the 5 student groups for the state of California, and we beat them all in the area of English language arts. And here it comes in math. We beat them all in math. So what that means is, on the 2025 dashboard, we've qualified for year 1 of 2. We require 2 years to obtain high track renewal status, but we are on track to be a high track renewal. The 2026 dashboard, which will be based on the scores generated this spring, they may qualify Westlake Charter for high track renewal status. So you could come out of this spring, and by June board meeting, I might be able to say, hey, it's looking like we're going to meet high track, which would be really cool. It wouldn't be the end of the world if we didn't, because we can certainly qualify as a middle track. We are currently a middle track school, and so is roughly 75% of all charter schools in the state of California. So we're in good company. But if we can make a run at it, it would be kind of cool to make a run at it this spring. So I'm hoping for that. Are there any questions about any of the previous 140,000 slides? Any questions? Any thoughts? Yeah, it's fun, right? It's a little nerdy. Yeah, a little rabbit hole in there. What's the science point? Yeah, what's the science point, man? All right, let's return to your regularly scheduled board meeting. About the science points.
Shall we do a quick check for public comment?
Sure.
No? Okay. So that brings us to our consent agenda tonight. We have 6 items on. If there aren't any questions, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Hope?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Sapphire?
Yes.
Sally?
Abstain.
No, you can do this.
Oh, you're good on this one. Yeah, good call, though.
Okay, yes.
But you can abstain if you'd like as well.
No,
Your
You
choice.
don't feel like you're being forced to
Yeah.
vote.
Amber?
Yes.
our next item is accept and approve certificated one-time fund allocation proposal. For the purpose of this item, both Directors Hubbard and Sanchez will be abstaining and not voting
So
on
maybe
this matter.
please not call their roll. And I do have I have a quick slide on this because I would like to just kind of talk it through, especially because it has not gone to Finance Committee. Typically, it would go to Finance Committee. Sean Berman, who's our chair of the Finance Committee, was very gracious. I reached out and said, hey, I'm not asking for how you would vote on this, but I am saying, would you be okay, because of our timeline, if I brought it directly to the board instead of slipping it first through Finance? It did come from an inquiry in Finance. Finance said, hey, could we look at some one-time? Could you guys bring back some data? We were prepped to bring the data back to Finance, but then we kind of recognized, well, if we wanted to go out during our traditional time, which is right before the end of the year, we would be missing payroll by just a period of days if we held off to the December board meeting. So we asked if it was okay to skip past Finance and bring it directly to the board so the board could have a full dialogue in lieu of the Finance Committee have that dialogue. So with that said, we have received the Student Support and Professional Development Discretionary Block Grant. It's a one-time grant approved for 25-26. The grant can be used for recruitment and retention efforts. And certainly, as we've talked about, like, retention is a big deal for us. And the Finance Committee is right in the midst of their annual review of certificated compensation. Classified compensation falls under the purview of the Executive Director, as you may or may not recall. I bring that point up in full transparency because it has been our tradition to, if the board elects to offer a one-time to certificated, that we do something similar for classified staff. So Steve and I have already drafted up what it would look like for classified staff to come through my office if the board elected to push out this certificated compensation piece. Impact on the school, strategic plan goal area 1, obviously recruit and retain, and staying financially, is this saying nimble?
It says number.
That says financially number.
There are a lot of numbers in finance.
That's 2 typos in one night. We are just killing it. Suspended 11 days. That's it. Me and
There's
you
another one, the
together.
next line.
Is there? Golly jeepers. All right. Well,
It shouldn't be
that's
innovative.
on me. That's on me. It was a long day.
There's a third one. It's innovative ways.
I don't even see innovative. Seek, innovate ways to leverage resources. Seek. It could be seek. It's the British spelling.
I think
It's the British spelling. Isn't it? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Sean. Thank you. My gracious. I'm sorry, everybody, for the typos. And my bad. My bad. Okay.
They were perfectly timed.
I believe.
Actually. I think we needed the chuckle.
Yeah. I just want to put that out there. Questions, thoughts, concerns, items to discuss, things you'd like to know about this, process-wise, procedurally, anything at all. We are open for dialogue. This again did not go through finance, so again, I just want to make sure the board feels comfortable having any questions, thoughts, concerns answered while we're here.
Seeing none, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Goodness, you guys. Hope?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Sapir?
Yes.
Amber?
Yes.
Nerali?
Yes.
Did you fix my slides?
I tried to.
That was awesome. I went to fix them and you were trying to fix them.
I tried to.
Sorry, I wasn't even paying attention. It must have passed. Thank you.
Well, now you have to go watch the YouTubes and see.
Well, now I was perseverating on the typos. My bad. Okay.
Strategic plan update.
Yeah, I have just kind of a fun, short, brief update on strategic plan. What time are we at here?
I was going to joke because it's another
10:30?
100 slides.
About another 100 slides. But then we'll get to academic calendar. I'm having a ton of fun with the strategic plan and the work that we're delving into, and I just felt compelled to bring it back tonight just to keep everybody in the loop on where we are and where we're heading next. I'll try to kind of walk through this, but if you have any thoughts, concerns, things you want to acknowledge as we go, I'd love to talk about it. We are still in phase 1 data collection, and all of our initial surveys have been completed. Our family focus groups have been completed. We had a wonderful evening of family focus groups, and we have family one question weekly. If I try and say that really fast. One question weekly surveys have launched. I don't know if you saw those, and we got a pretty good response rate this week, which is really cute. So these surveys are really based on the initial analysis. So we did the survey, then we used the survey to ask questions in the focus group, and then based on some of the focus group answers, we're doing these one-question drips. Partly we're doing it because we want to keep people engaged in the process so they feel increasingly comfortable to engage, but also it's cool data, so we're kind of nerding out on that. The family survey analysis kind of want to talk about tonight and just give you an example of what some of it looks like. So the initial quantitative analysis is completed. The initial qualitative analysis has been completed. I now have a code book with 2,209 individual codes, which I will bore you with at a later date. I'll just show you a small example of what it looks like today.
The font's so small, guys.
It
It's
is
so small.
I printed them in books so the admin team can help me with some of the work on their side, and so I can recruit people into the work. But the font is so small. Initial family focus group analysis has also been completed, and we're starting to build this all together. And the next steps will be completing the initial staff quantitative analysis and conduct staff focus groups. We're launching that in the Westlake Weekly this week coming up on Wednesday, and we suspect that those are going to happen on the 9th at the high school and the 10th at the K-8. 10th is after a staff meeting between 3 and 4 because we want people to have time to come to these meetings on the clock. And then at the high school, so since they don't have a 3 to 4, we're going to do it once per prep period throughout the day, and then a fifth one at 4 o'clock if anyone wants to come to that. So you just want to make sure it's available to everybody, and those will be a ton of fun. I'm very excited about those. I want to talk a little bit about these initial family focus group analysis and kind of how we got there. So how do we develop the questions for focus groups? Well, we started with the survey results, and then we developed the questions for the family focus groups based on what the survey results suggested. So let me give you a little eyeball on this. In the qualitative responses, I read every response, and if you said something about why you chose Westlake, I'd code it to one of these buckets. Now, these are your top 10 buckets. I have 54 people who said, I chose Westlake because of some competitive edge. It's the best. It's the greatest. I mean, there's a lot of like words like that. There's these competitive words. 51 individual comments about its reputation. I heard it from family, academics, proximity to home. I love that. Okay, well, it's on I live across the street. These are the top 10 coded, and there's another 20 below, and the numbers trickle off. That's why you chose to come here. This is what we said, hey, if you could just what would you never change? Now, the reason we asked these two questions is like, what drew you here, which is what you guys brought up in this room. You said, oh, you got to ask, why do people come here? I'm so glad you made that suggestion. But this is what we think is why you came here, and this is what we think why you stay here. And that's interesting, because what you thought you were signing up for wasn't always what you got, and what you got, it turned out some people liked things that didn't even know they were wanted. And it's fascinating in the data as you look at that, and you start to go like, oh, well, this one kind of touches that one, and that one kind of touches that one, and that one goes there, and I can see that connection there, that connection right there. Like, I can see the connections, but there's a few of them that are like, you don't connect to anything. Like, you're a standalone. What's going on with it? What is this? What do you mean competitive? What about our reputation? What are these high standards that you signed up for? So we asked we kind of piled through these, competitive, because Westlake is one of the top-rated schools. Top-rated by who? Like what? Through the research, we found Westlake to be the best charter school in the Potomac. Thank you. What research? What are you talking? The chicken nuggets? Right? We believe Westlake Charter School is a benchmark. I love that.
How's it going?
It's great, but I don't know what it means. So we wanted to ask. I love this. This came up like, great reputation, good reputation, great reputation. I mean, just like, I must have 25 comments of just 2 words. Great reputation, hilarious. Reputation is one of the first schools we applied for. Extremely highly regarded school. When we moved here in 2010, our oldest got in, and we knew any and all children we had would want to attend here. It's not perfect. Love that. But it's very, very good. I love that so much. It's not perfect. Thank you. Yeah, we know that.
I always feel like a portal.
Interesting, though. Like, what do you mean by what reputation? And then this one, it's a prep school environment. Really? What does that mean? Higher standards school, high standards in education. So we took a crack at saying, okay, let's develop some questions where we'd like to get nuanced information back. I took, the initial questions to leadership at K-8. Thank God for K-8 leadership, because they immediately cut 3 questions. Like, you can't ask that. That's a bad question. And they helped me edit and revise. I'm always smarter coming out of leadership. And 6 questions made the cut, and each was kind of a combination of quantitative and qualitative data observations. And I'll show you what this example is here. We had an 8-minute timer, and we said this: reputation and high standards. Across the survey data, families from both campuses show a high level of pride for being at Westlake Charter School. In the open response data, families spoke about why they chose to send their children to Westlake Charter School. Some of the highest responses were because of our school's reputation and our higher standards. How would you describe the reputation of our school, and do you see evidence to support this reputation? Anybody have an answer for that while I was talking? Anybody have what do you think people said our reputation was? You're on YouTube, you don't want to say it. You're just tired, I understand. It's just fascinating. It's fascinating because we kind of juxtapose, what was your reputation, and do you see evidence? And immediately people couldn't help it. It bridged into, these are the things that I now know, but I didn't know then. And it was fascinating. So some of the initial analysis is example outcomes are reputation and word of mouth as primary drivers. Over and over, it was I came here because I knew that person came here, or my cousin, or my friend. I mean, I did not hear in the written or the spoken data it was the postcard. I think a postcard didn't hurt. But word of mouth is a thing. The initial draw, and this came out, man. The initial draw is I'm coming here for these high standards of academics, but I sustained here, right? My loyalty to this school is more about community and culture. It's so we're yes, I think that's true, but I don't think we could say that was true by just reading the survey results. These groups helped us understand that, and we have 30 pages. I'm just going to do 2 more bullet points and be done. But we are spending a lot of time on this. High demand creates perceived prestige. Because there's this what do you mean by high standards? Well, your wait list is 1,500 kids long. Really? Okay, it just never dawned on me that people are yeah, dude, it's hard to get into that school. It must be awesome. You know what I mean? So there's this perceived higher standard that goes along with everybody wants in. The word of mouth is you're super lucky to get in. It's wild, right?
So all the all the charter schools in Natomas
All the charter schools in
have
Natomas
a decent waiting list.
Yeah.
So we must all be prestigious.
Certainly the people who are in our
That's
room.
rough on NUSD.
There's a very clear indicator in the data that people choose us to not. It's a form of it. One of the highest ranked codes is, why did you choose Westlake Charter School to not go to a district school?
Interesting. So I'm not trying to throw them under the bus.
Not at all.
It's just the perceived prestige. It would apply to all the charter schools somewhat equally.
I couldn't speak to that, but it does speak.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least, unless it's really changed, last I knew, they all maintained pretty decent wait lists.
Yes, and I think we've said every year during the lottery that we would assume that the 1,500 people that are on our list are on all 3 lists.
Yes.
That's what we would assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just, I just
But
find that interesting.
I think what we were trying to find out was, what is this thing called a higher standard? And it was surprising to be oh my gosh, it wasn't for some people. It wasn't academics or social or structural or programmatic. It was just that everybody else wanted it, and that was interesting. It's an interesting thing.
Such a societal statement.
Yeah.
It's an assumption for the strategic plan.
This bullet I added because it came out in several of the questions, and what we're recognizing as a group that debriefed on it was there was an increased understanding of Westlake's value over time. So we talk about joyful learning. Amber was in my focus group, but it's a joyful. Hey, tell us about joyful learning versus competitive academics. And there's this really rich question around hey, I think joyful learning is in part that you do retakes and that you and your standards-based grading, and that you don't do a lot of homework. But when I first experienced that, I was oh, why? Why do you do that? Why don't you retakes? But the longer I stayed here, the more I recognized what value that had for my child. And so that we realized in these focus groups that like, because this person is a brand new kindergarten parent. This person had been here for 15 years, longer than me, you know? And so like, and we kept hearing that you don't get it right away. And we're a little cognizant of the in-group, out-group potential in the data. And what that means from a strategic planning standpoint is like, hey, you really want to onboard this kindergarten family really well. Tell them the stories. Get them to know the things that add value to this place sooner. Because right now it seems to take a little longer before you wake up and go, oh yeah, this place has got it going on. So it's just really interesting, nuanced data that comes out of hearing people out loud after you've already read 2,000 comments that they wrote. Right? That's cool.
So we're a long-term investment.
We are. But
No, I mean,
yeah.
It's kind of like the why. So I'm not going to compare us to science points, but a little bit, right? Because
Yeah.
you see it there and you're like, but I don't understand why.
Yeah.
And that's the same kind of things with the concepts
Totally.
you were discussing, is when they don't understand why, they don't have an appreciation of it. And
Yeah.
that was what a lot of the people said is, but then once I started seeing the
Totally.
difference, I really came to appreciate it and don't want the other
Yeah.
that I thought was education.
Yeah. I wanted the test score. Now I want the joyful learning. And I like both, but this thing means something to me. Yeah, and we'll talk about it during strategic planning, but like what I'd like to share is that what I'm starting to hear definitively in the data, I mean, you saw it in the quant data, I've read it in the qualitative data, and so here, this is not a rebuild. No one is saying, oh, burn it down, start from scratch. Definitively, our community is like, hey, we got a good thing going here. We got a good thing going here. Look for ways to tweak it, make it better. And one of the ways that we're seeing is helping people understand it. Because once they stay long enough, they do. And so I think that's a really interesting one for us. I'm not sure how we address that strategically, but I think it is an interesting piece of data. Our next steps are that we will return in December, January, with some further analysis. And I wonder if you have any questions, thoughts, or concerns. What's that?
I got one. About the high demand creates the perceived prestige. There's nothing more down than talking to a parent who's on the wait list, like at number 25 or 26.
Oh, dude.
And
26 to
there's
226.
You know, so they're so close, but they're not in, you know.
Oh, yeah.
They're talking about, you think that this many kids will drop out or move? I was like, I don't know. Can you talk to Dr. I can get me in?
Totally.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where the prestige
Yeah.
comes from. It's, you know, that we do have so many people that want to get in here.
Yeah, I'm not disparaging our partners at NUSD, but the data is clear. Like, people over and over are like, I came here because I wanted to be part of a charter. Like, do you know what a charter is? No, I just don't want to go to the district school, you know. And there's some great district school options, right? So I didn't ask, well, where do you live? Which school are you talking about? But but that is the nature of a charter school, I guess, right? People are looking for options, right? But you think that they're looking for your programmatic options, and in the data, it's like some of them are just looking to not be in the traditional public school for whatever perceived reason.
And then once they get here, they're like, oh.
Yeah, this place is kind of rad.
Landed well.
Yeah. Yo, people mention over and over in the qualitative data, like, we won the lottery. It comes out, it's a funny little quote, comes over and over.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to disparage the
No,
district
you
either.
weren't, no.
I mean, I think I've shared here before. I mean, my why we were a family through here was it was the
Full-day
only
kinder.
program with full day kindergarten. And I know that sounds awful to admit, but like, I was 17th on the wait list, and we got the call 4 days before school started. Like, so there is hope, right? You never, maybe not at 160, but like, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I find this fascinating.
Yeah.
And now that we leveled that playing field, right? Now all the programs are full day kindergarten. So like,
Yeah.
what pieces are changing over time that sort of level or shift the field between all the schools in the area as well? I mean, having a school in Northlake and having, not fully understanding where Twin Rivers starts and Natoma stops is always a quandary too. So this fascinates me.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this. If you want to come by the office, I got pages and
It
pages.
is. It's like it's a ream
Yeah.
of paper.
But there's some really good analysis going on. I think we will richly understand our stakeholders. You know, when we get this deep into staff as well, it will just make us better to understand the experience of our stakeholders than to come to this room and go, hey man, what do you want to work on next? The next item is the discussion item regarding the calendar. Do you want me to jump to it?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where we are.
Yep.
Hopefully everybody had a chance to look at it. I mean, I do have some slides, but the slides kind of reiterate what the brief says, right? Where we believe that the calendar is kind of an expression of what we value, right? We try to space out our breaks. We love that October break. We think it's a bit of a retention piece. We think our teachers don't burn out as quickly because they get that October break. You know, we have 180 days rather than 175 as a charter school. We could do 175, but we value time in the seat. Questions that we thought were kind of worth saying out loud was like, how does our calendar, and next year's calendar is almost identical to this year's calendar, just FYI. How does it address staff retention, school and community collaboration, our academic and social emotional readiness, right? Like, just kind of an interesting note, like, how does your calendar impact areas of our strategic plan? And then I'll just show you this chart here because I know that's always interesting to people. It's like, how do you line up if you got a child at one school and another? And I'll address any questions, thoughts, or concerns. And I'll also take revision thoughts. Like, hey, John, could you go see if we can have school on a Saturday? And I'll come back with an idea.
Question, have you ever thought about having a 2-week spring break?
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. And no, don't never mind.
No, it's a good question.
It's a great question. You know, so what we do kind of like to do is, you'll notice like this 7-7 split, what this means is between spring break and summer break, I got 7 weeks before spring break and 7 weeks after spring break to summer. So we're a 7-7 split. These guys are a 12-8 split. Sometimes when people follow Easter slides back and you end up with an 8-12 split, and it's the Bataan Death March, right? I mean, teachers know. You get out spring break and you're looking down 12 weeks, you're like, oh, I don't think I'm going to make it. You know, and so that to say, if you went to we get out of school because of all the breaks we take, which I love. Our last day of school, is it not listed up there?
No, it's June 9th.
Thanks, it's June 8th.
9th.
Our last day of school is pretty late, and Natomas Unified gets out at the end of May, so it's kind of tough for our kids because they're riding their bikes to school and their colleagues are at the park and they're like, they're at the pool. And so if you go take a 2-week spring break and you don't change anything else, now you're getting out of school June 14th. And we've been there. I mean, we've been a little June 11th, but it starts to get pretty late. So then you got to look for other things to cut, you know.
You lose February break, right?
You could
Or
lose
you
February
keep
break,
it.
do a 4-day work week, things like that.
Wasn't there you did a survey
Yes.
when you changed it? And I think there was some thoughts that, I mean, teachers obviously would know that sometimes that long of a break too is like, there's a lot to repractice.
And it was right before CASP.
Well, and then
So we're all looking at test scores.
childcare for the 2 weeks, like
Are
having
you good?
vacation days that match a 2-week spring break. Like we did a lot of research when we went down. I felt like to 1 week.
I feel like we did 3 weeks of winter break once. I wasn't here, maybe. Maybe it was Natomas.
That's
Did we do-
standard in Elk Grove.
Did we do
isn't
3
it?
weeks at winter break once here? Wasn't here? Maybe it was Natomas.
Or Woodland, because
Yeah.
of Three Kings, they stay out through the.
Maybe it was just a concept. That's what it was. It was this idea that if you did 3 weeks, that more of the traveling families would come home, right? And so you're like, oh, but then I heard it didn't work. So
Maybe it's Dixon. I know of a local district that does do that, and it doesn't really seem much of a shift.
Yeah. Love it though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a 2-week spring break. What else? Anything else tickle your fancy about this? I know it's late.
Veterans Day in the middle of the week was a trip.
Yeah, it was a trip. I actually ended up liking it.
It's Wednesday next year.
It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and so this was the first year that it was in the middle of the week. And
Yeah.
then it's going to be Wednesday,
Wednesday, yeah.
Thursday the year after that, and then it'll go back to
Yeah,
Friday, Saturday,
yeah.
Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, it was weird on Tuesday. It'll be weird on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's what weird to have up.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
So, interestingly, the whole district and NCS took Monday off, right?
Yeah,
I'm not saying
didn't they
to
do a
that.
teacher workday, I think?
Yes, they did
Yeah.
teacher workday, but families had
Yeah,
that day off.
right.
Have you seen their calendar? Are they just taking
I don't
Wednesday
know.
off?
Yeah, I
I
don't
was just
know.
curious.
That's a good.
Because it was
let's
an
make a note.
interesting
I'll
conversation
call.
for people who
Call.
have kids at both, because there was a lot of people traveling for some reason this last weekend.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
wondered
4
if it
days.
affected
Yeah.
our numbers.
Yeah,
I mean, I ran a swim meet on Monday
Let's pull. Let's
with
pull.
800
Let's pull
swimmers.
attendance on Monday, and then pull the other schools next year's calendar. We could.
It's not that big. I was
Katie?
just curious.
No, it was fascinating. Yeah.
Like personally, I thought the same thing, and I had all students on Monday.
22.
I
You were.
was not ready for it. Surprised. Surprised.
You were like, oh, where'd y'all come from? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll pull attendance just for fun, because we'll bring calendar back, and when we do, we'll talk. We'll bring that data. I'm interested too. I wonder what it was.
Yeah, but 2 days would be hard for next year.
Our attendance was 88. Well, that's significantly lower than standard.
And he's the only list to be off on Wednesday next year.
Is that right?
That
Okay.
makes sense. I can imagine they would take.
That'd be a tough stretch.
But the year after that, when it's on a Thursday.
And maybe they'll take the Friday. Yeah. Yeah.
Making it teacher workday kind of sucks, though. Like this year, because
It does. Optional would be fine, but then you probably wouldn't
They're
do a
not
lot
doing
of
optional.
option in.
It was not optional. I heard they had PD.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
PD. Yeah, it's kind of a stinker for them, because they're like, yeah, that's fine.
Have we, one question.
No, please.
Since Veterans Day, since you brought it up, since it is midweek, and parent-teacher conferences are very close to Veterans Day, have you thought moving that into that Veterans Day week?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can explore it. The thing with conference week is you have a week of minimum days, and you have 28 families in middle school that you have to meet with, and you do 20-minute slots, and you plan out the week. It's pretty tight. So if you collapse the Wednesday or the Veterans Day and lost it, you might keep teachers here later than they want to be here. Yeah.
And there are years it hits. So like starting on August 12th is kind of late for us in a way, right? Because of just how the calendar falls, which is what pushed that into the following week. So I know we've had discussions here about is 4 days enough to get it done. So yeah, that's always a quandary, I think, for admin and staff.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, questions, or concerns? Please, send me an email or come chat with me if you're like, oh my gosh, I got a great idea. Saturday school for all my friends. Whatever. I don't know. Whatever. If you got something, please reach out. Thank you for being here tonight, and stick with me that was my 156th slide.
What's your record?
I think that's pretty close.
This is close,
I think
yeah.
I've. But the dashboard just kept growing on me. I kept building slides. And I'm like, oh yeah, what's a science point?
Within such a huge goal of ours,
Yeah, and the high school data, we've just kind of grown. And I also was cognizant of like, not everybody's gone through the distance from standard calculation. We need to unpack that. So, future agenda items.
Let's see, it's November, so in December we'll have first interim.
First interim. Whoop whoop.
We'll have at least we'll have one policy from governance next month.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And we'll bring back the calendar, because
Yeah.
if there's not a lot of movement, I'd like to get it approved in December so families can see it,
and start planning.
Yep. I bet I'll bring back some nerdy data, some strat plan data.
My only other calendar thing, and I know I'm sure you've looked at it already, is the holiday list keeps changing. I feel like, at least in my workplace, just making sure we have all the holidays that we have to have, like Veterans Day following Veterans Day now, and we get out before Juneteenth, so that's not an issue for the academic calendar. But in terms of Indigenous People Day, Cesar Chavez Day, those are I know just to make sure we're got all the ones in here that we need to legally have.
When we bring back the kind of the federal holiday list and the regs on that, and how we make decisions on that, that'd be cool.
Just because I feel like it's always changing, so
Yeah,
making
it's
sure.
a great learn. It's a great. You are approving a calendar. You should know what goes into it.
We just
Yeah,
added,
love that.
Diwali was added for next year. I don't know how, like in terms of leave or not leave, so that kind of thing.
It's good. Wonderful.
is.
Well, we'd like to do a quick whip round reflection. So
What
this
worked-
is.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, you go.
You can go.
This is what worked well. Not a celebration.
No.
Not like, yeah, I like that one slide. But what worked well was that particular data spoke to something that's important to me, or I like the temperature of the room, or, you know, what worked well, or what would have been better if, like, if John had less slides. Raleigh.
This worked well for me.
Oh, good.
I think that at first I thought maybe it would have been better if I like had gone on the site myself and figured out some of the numbers. Maybe I'd be better prepared in asking the questions of why they went up and down. But I think even actively doing this has given a lot of thought.
Cool.
Maybe post-thought, it might take some time to process it, but something to consider, and I don't know if it's possible, whether we could, I mean, data got released today, so. Kind of a mute point here, but I think in the future, if the timing was different, then even having that data ahead of time to.
Yeah, there's actually on the dashboard a great little button you can click and it prints an entire Westlake Charter School 15-page PDF report. That way you can like, and I almost brought it tonight and I didn't, clearly. I brought these.
Thank you.
But yes, today, having the release day line up with the board meeting.
Was a little tight.
It also presented challenges for the guide from Charter Impact, right? Because we had to prepare, assuming we had hit it, but not knowing for sure until today.
Yeah, we know the state,
This helps.
yeah, good. Yeah, the handouts. Amber, Sally, which one?
Okay. I don't remember seeing a board brief on the academic calendar before.
It slipped in there very late. My bad.
No, I don't mean that. I just
Oh,
mean in years past.
Oh, from before, yeah.
I don't know if we did, and maybe that's just.
The last one was 2022.
Okay.
And Melissa and I were laughing. We're like, oh my gosh, we haven't done a board brief since 2022.
Well, I really appreciated that because I liked the comparisons, but I also just like to see the thought that's put into it.
Yeah.
And instead of just, the calendar's a little bit overwhelming if you see it on its own, so I really appreciated that work.
Yeah, board brief. Yeah, love it. I certainly would say what works well for me is your engagement around different topics. Seeing your thoughts and having you engage during my presentation is super useful for me as a presenter.
What really worked for me was having one of my committee members, not mine, but like our committee members here to present briefly. I don't know that they always feel included in this process, and so it was great to have her here to present.
Sanchez, what worked well, or what would have been better if?
I was gonna say this also, I've done this with you before, and every time I have to like re-understand it. But also having our science teacher here was really special.
Yeah, me too. Sever?
Yeah, I thought the presentation was awesome.
Yeah.
For NASA and all that stuff, because I've never heard that before, the Hunch program. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was cool. When you first started, I was like, is there not an easier way to figure this out? You know, plus or minus 3, high, low, medium. Can we just go A through B or 1 through 4? But
There probably
this
is.
exercise and going through each one of them was pretty cool.
Cool. Steve, play?
Yeah, I think what worked well, I think the presenters tonight were great. I think the data deep dive and the what could have been better if my spell check apparently was a little bit better tonight.
Wait, so are you saying that was your slide?
Some of it was, yeah.
Oh.
Shared responsibilities. We do it together.
It's teamwork.
We succeed together, we fail together. Those are our slides. Sean?
It would be better if science points were not weird.
Yeah.
And it worked well that you took the time to try to find out why they're weird and try to explain them.
Hopefully in subsequent years I'll come back and go, Eureka! I found it. Yeah.
I doubt it.
It worked well for me to have graphic organizer, so
Yeah.
then I could take notes and annotate, and follow along.
Yeah, especially on the quant type stuff. Yeah, for sure. Very
Okay,
good.
then. With that, let's adjourn at 9:01.
9:01, look at that. That's a long meeting. Thanks everybody on the YouTubes.
I'm really regretting not having dinner.
Oh, night, Paul. Paul, you should go to bed. It's 9 o'clock, buddy.